wise man once said, "The will to win, the desire to succeed,
What takes guts is to put yourself on the line.
the urge to reach your full potential.
A leader makes the way.
These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence." Success Resources is the world's leading events promoter of business, personal development, and wealth creation programs. For over 30 years, we've helped over 10 million people across 30 countries unlock their full potential. From North America to Europe to Africa to Asia to Oceania, we are the key to your personal success. We open the door to the world's best speakers such as Anthony Robbins, Sir Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, and T. Harv Eker, to name a few. We have over 500 events a year and access to the greatest thinkers, achievers, and motivators of our time. We guide you to the success that lies in every one of us.
But you will not discover your greatness in your comfort zone.
We have never really truly reached our destination. There's always another level to strive for. Your best is yet to come. Success Resources, your learning partners.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Can you see me? Yes. Hi. Good afternoon. Good evening. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Greeting from Success Resources. My name is Nikki, and on behalf of Success Resources and Sandy Jadeja, I want to warmly welcome you today to the part 2 of Sandy's training, the fast profit swing trading. So we have received many messages over the last week that students are making money on the intraday trades. And are you ready to learn more? I hope so. And yes. Okay. Right. Cool. It's my pleasure to bring you your instructor, Sandy Jadeja. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Sandy.
Great. Thank you very much, Nikki, for doing the introduction. Let's get started from the beginning. Firstly, welcome to everybody, whichever part of the world you're in. Hope you're safe and your families are safe. Thank you for being on time and for joining this part 2. It's amazing how quickly the week has gone. It was only just last week that we actually did this training session. And during that week, it's been interesting just to watch the responses on the chat groups, which I'll come back to in just a short while. So let's just go back to where we were last week. I said that what we'll do in part 2 is a recap of what we've already learnt. And then I said the objective is to reduce any doubts and mistakes that you've made over the week in the training sessions that you've had. So I also want to have a look at the week on the Dow Jones, what's happened using the techniques that we've looked at. And then I'm going to do a Q&A session. There's been already a large number of questions coming in, not just on the chat groups, but also private messages and on the Q&A session that we have over here. And hopefully I want to also celebrate what you've achieved. It's not just about the money, but there are other things that we need to look at as well. Now, we started last week saying, what is the objective? What are we trying to do? And if you remember, we were at a point where the whole world is now looking at a very different picture of how things are. No matter which part of the world you're in, whether you're in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in the Middle East, things are different. And every day we've been bombarded with information of what's happening in the coronavirus situation. It's not just the coronavirus, it's the attitude of people that's also changed. And during this time, there's a lot of uncertainty to where things are going to be in the next few months, let alone the next few years, what's going to happen to people's jobs and also businesses. And at the time, it was just really strange to see how quickly things have evolved. But our objective was to see if we could create our own economy and if we could do something with the tools that we have from home. And that was the most simple objective from my perspective. So we looked at this whole program about daily income trading, just using very simple trading strategies for market volatility. And then yesterday was an interesting day. I woke up in the morning and went through the chat groups and just observing how people talk and what they're saying and what they're implying. And I'm mostly referring to this particular group, the one that you're in. And it got me to the point where I thought, oh, why do I create a chat group? It's just, is there any purpose to chat groups? As far as I know, I'm the only one from Success Resources side where I offer a continuation where people can communicate on a daily basis. But there was a couple of messages and it just got me to think. And then I decided for the rest of the day, I'm just going to switch off. Even though I've got a lot of things on, I just wanted to switch off from the whole thing. And I then decided to focus more on family matters. So I met up with my brother and my mother and just had long conversations. But last night something happened. It was at 8:40 in the evening. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said to me, "I'm really struggling." And I said, "In which aspect?" And she said, "Well, I don't know whether to stay in a trade. I don't know whether to get out of a trade. I don't know which market to look at." And this is somebody who's done 3 programs with me. And she's not on this particular program. I didn't let her join the program that you guys are on right now. So it got to the point where, for a good half an hour, we were having this conversation, and I was getting really, really frustrated. And the reason I was getting frustrated is because I was trying to explain to this person, do you want something simple? Do you want something that just works? It can give you some really good results, but bear in mind that you're not going to win every single trade. Do you want something where you don't have to look at the screen every few minutes? Do you want something which can be applied to all the markets? And when I was asking these questions, she just kept talking, 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 and talking. She just wasn't listening. So eventually I stopped saying something, and then there was a pause. And then I asked those questions again. So she said, yes, and by around 9:20 in the evening, London time. And it was around 3:20 in the country that she was in the morning. So I then said, okay, since I had my laptop on, I said, look, go to your trading platform and just do this. And I showed a really simple technique. I mean, it's just ridiculously simple. Even though it was that simple, I still found that this person just wanted to overcomplicate things. And by about 9:30, 9:35, I said, look, I'm really tired. Let's just leave it here. And you have to reevaluate what it is that you're looking for, because I can't help you. Until you know what it is that you want, there's nothing that I can do. And after I had this thought in my head, I then started to think about, okay, we've got this webinar tomorrow, and what are we going to do on the webinar? What message do I want to get across to the people? And it got me to thinking, how did this even all start? And it all started with this concept where my uncle was telling me that he was struggling as an Uber driver. And for me, I couldn't understand why during this environment people are panicking so much. But that's me. Remember, I'm in a very different position to most people, because during these times where things are going to be difficult, where there is a crisis, it forces you to think. It forces you to look at the things that we really need to appreciate, the things that we took for granted. And then it got me to think about how many times, whether it was Success Resources or whether it was in the media or whether it was just talking to people on a one-to-one basis or even groups. And I kept saying that you really need to understand the big picture. What's the purpose of what's going on in the world right now? And we can go into so many different conversations here. And hopefully, when we meet, definitely I'll give you some insights as to what's happening. But the main thing is this. I think that we have to focus on where we are right now. And the most important person you can help is yourself. All right. You've got to start with yourself, because if you can do something and you can take care of yourself, then you can start helping other people. And I always remember this lady called Sister Emmanuel. You've heard the story before, some of you haven't, where many, many years ago, I was helping people, and this lady, Sister Emmanuel, said to me, "What would you do if somebody was drowning in a lake?" And I said, "I'd reach out and help them." And she says, "You can't, because if you go into that lake to help them, they'll jump all over you and they'll drown you. The best thing that you could do is just throw them a lifeline. And if they really want to be saved, they'll hold on, and then you bring them in. So you meet them halfway." It's a lesson that I keep thinking about again and again. And I was thinking about this last night. And you can only do so much for people. There's not much else you can do. So even with this group, the objective was to show you something. It's really simple, and yet people overcomplicate it. They overthink. Um, they get to the point where they don't believe in it because they've had a loss or a few losses, or they've just started off on the wrong foot and they've been losing all the way. But then you get the other side when you look at people who have been doing well. I received a number of messages during the week. It was around, I think it was Wednesday. What's today? Sunday. It was around Wednesday or Thursday. A couple of messages came through and said, "Sandy, thank you so much. Really enjoyed the training session last week. Looking forward to this weekend. But I've left the chat group. And the reason is because there's just so much noise in there and it's just getting too much. But I was really happy with what I learned. I'm doing okay. I've made a few mistakes. Other people have said they've done very, very well." So what we've got to do is find balance in the chat group. We've got to find balance in what us individually are doing. Because if you can get to a state of balance, things become a lot more clearer. If you take on too much and if you came with the wrong attitude, nothing will work. Nothing. Just like that lady last night, no matter what I have shown this person, nothing will work for this person until she quietens her mind, until she says to herself that I'm ready, that I'm really, really ready right now to try something. And that's the point where I need to get you to today. So remember what I said? It's the way we look at the scenery that needs changing and not the scenery itself. And that was from Tycho, philosopher. I had to remind myself today that even though I was dealing with this lady last night, I also need to change the way that I look at things, because it might be easy for me right now. But the reason she was in such an attitude last night, not with me, but just with herself, is because she said that so many people around her have lost jobs. So many people around her right now, their businesses have gone down. And yet, while she's making money, it makes her feel guilty. And you see, guilt is a very, very, very powerful emotion. It's one of the most powerful emotions beyond love. So when you have guilt and you're in a position where you're making money and you hear in the media, on the news, or from other people that they're losing, that puts you in a weak spot and you can't afford to be in that position. So again, with every program, I have to legally give you the disclaimer that everything that I'm going to show you today is purely for information and education purposes only. Not saying that everything that I can do is something that you can do. We all have different experience levels. But the main objective is to be able to show you something. And there's no guarantee that the data that I'm looking at as well. Okay. Now, let's take said, what if we could learn about trading, create a plan, then create a strategy, and understand volatility, money, and risk management? Then what if we trade a strategy with a plan and small capital? Okay. Not once did I say to you, go and put $20,000, $30,000 in this program. I didn't say that. This again is a test. It's to be able to show you something simple, start with a simple plan and a small capital base. Now, did you learn something about trading? Did you go through this week and did you say to yourself, wow, some of you were new to this, and say to yourself, I didn't know that I could do this. I didn't know that this was possible. Did you learn that it's not as difficult as you think in terms of the process of what it is that you have to do? Did you make mistakes? Remember what I said last week, that go in on the Tuesday because Monday in some countries it's a holiday, the market's trading, but it will be a thin day. And I said, when you start trading, for me, all I want you to do is to get your first trade on, place that trade. It's okay to make mistakes. Really, it really is okay to make mistakes. But the idea is to go in there and learn. Start from somewhere. Did you make a profit? There was a lot of people on there saying that I lost money. There was a lot of people on there saying that I made money. And it was just interesting to watch how the people react. As soon as somebody said, look, I've made this is the amount of money that I made. There was a really lovely lady on there. I don't know her personally, and hopefully I got her name right. It's Sumaya. And she posted her results. And then the first thing that you see people is, wow, well done. How did you do that? You're more interested in how that person did that because you want to get to the point of making the same results and making the money. That's the wrong question. The question we've got to ask ourselves is what was the process? What was the plan? What was the things that you did to get you to that point? Maybe this person had been trading before. Maybe she hadn't. I don't know. I've no idea what this person's background is. But the objective is to make money. It's to make a profit. But everybody will be on a different level. This morning, early in the morning, I was thinking about just going back over the years. I was actually having a conversation with a guy that I've known for quite a long time this morning. And I go back to think about how many different trading floors that I've been on, sitting on the trading floor, just observing the ambience during times where the markets are really volatile. And then there are times when there was nothing happening. Right now, most of the people that I know are off the trading floor. We don't now have the huge trading floor sizes that I used to be involved in. Nowadays, they're more focused trading floors. You'll find people specialize in very specific markets or specific areas. There's a lot of traders that I know that are now mostly consultants and working from home, including myself. I'm still on the trading floors. I still go to the companies that I consult with, but I'm not on their trading floor every single day. It's very, very different now. And even though I look back and I look at the characters that were in the companies that I was with, and I wonder where these people are right now, the main objective is money. And money creates character, and character drives the person. And it all comes down to emotion. It comes down to your character, your makeup. So, yes, make mistakes. Hopefully, you'll make a profit. But at the most important level, try to understand who you are and who you've become from what you've learned. Did you get emotional? I'm sure you did. And that's fine because money creates emotion. But the key point is how did you handle that emotion? How did you deal with the ups and downs? How did you deal with the positives and the negatives? When you were making money, how did you feel? When you were losing money, how did you feel? Did you find that you couldn't sleep at night because you had a good win and you're thinking, wow, if I only make this same amount tomorrow and the next day and the next day, I don't even need to worry about the job or the business? Did you go to sleep thinking, oh my God, I took a loss? What if I can't do this very well? What if I'm never going to be a good trader? There's all these what if questions. And if you can learn to detach, and that is not easy, if you can learn to detach from the emotions, but not detach from the process, that can help you to become a much better person, a much better trader. There's no way you can get rid of the emotion because then you wouldn't be human. You have to be emotional, but it's how you handle that emotion. But I'm sure you experienced your ups and downs this week. Did you create a plan? Did you start on the Monday, opened up an account, deposited some money in there, and says, right, let me just go and have a look at this technique, the Keltner channels, and let me go and put a trade on? Or did you actually spend some time on the Monday creating a plan and saying to yourself, okay, so I've learned this technique over the weekend and looks okay. It looks pretty simple enough. I'm sure there's a few things that I don't understand, but here's my objective. Here's what I'm looking to do for today. Here's what my aim is for this week. And ultimately, this is where I want to get to. or did you just jump in? In most cases, people just jump in. And I think that really you've got to start from a point of having a plan, even if it's just a basic structure. Start somewhere. And the whole purpose of the plan is to improve. Just get yourself to the point like, how can I become better? I'll give you an example. It was only 2 weeks ago that we decided, it was about 3 weeks ago, we decided to do this webinar with Nikki. I was thinking about doing this particular webinar. Now, in the first webinar, some people were saying the sound wasn't good. Some people were saying that they couldn't log in. And it could be due to a number of factors. It could be because of the overload on the internet. It could be because my internet connection wasn't great. It could be whatever it was. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to change whatever I can to improve things, even if it's slightly better. So I'm now using a different laptop. I'm now using a completely different microphone. I'm now using a completely different sound processor. And every step of the way, I'm asking questions. Does it sound better? Is the user experience better? Because I'm looking to improve tiny, tiny, tiny little things at a time. And so when you create a plan, go back and ask yourself, can I improve on the entry? Can I improve on the exit? Can I improve on how I handle myself emotionally? Can I improve in what my trading size is going to be? Can I improve my laptop? Can I improve my internet connection? Tiny little changes can help make the big difference. So these are things that you just need to think about. Okay. So these are things that we went through during the week. Now, the outline of the program was the first part, as I said, was to get you started from the beginning. So we spent quite a bit of time on the foundation. Then I said to you, part two is practice what you learn. So part two was you spending that 1 week and saying to yourself, okay, let me see what I can do in these next 7 days. Part three, I said, we'll look back and then we'll evaluate what you did. And then part four will also be looking more at the mental game. And then I said, we're looking at a live trading session. Now, during the week, I was looking for an opportunity to get people on and maybe do a quick hour on the live trading session, but not everybody was in the chat group. So I thought I'm going to wait. And plus, I was extremely busy with other matters as well. But I haven't left this live trading session now. I thought, let me just hold that for just a short time until everybody's in the chat group. And at least everybody has had some experience in getting started. So today, we're going to do a recap on what you've learned. Then I will give you a quick 15 minutes break. And then in session two, I want to go much more into detail with the charts and the mental blocks that you're probably facing. Then I'll do a quick Q&A session. Now, the Q&A session will be very different. It won't be where everybody will ask a question I'll be answering. That's just not going to happen. But there is a Q&A box. If you can just drop your questions in there, and during the break, at least I can have a look at it. But I've already had a number of questions that have come through, and I know what kind of questions they're going to be anyway. So I can at least do that all together. And then I'll talk about how to move forward. Now, let's go and take a look at the absolute basics. I don't want to do a recap on everything we learned last week. You have that in your workbook. What I want to do is to go back to basics and say, okay, what is it that we were trying to do here? So nature is pleased with simplicity and nature is no dummy. So Isaac Newton. Please don't overcomplicate this. Please, please, please keep this as simple as possible. I'm so annoyed with my mother. When I see my mother every day, she's looking at the TV and all I see is this coronavirus. I've actually installed a skybox for her. She has every channel to watch, but all she's focusing on is this whole thing about the coronavirus and it's driving me nuts. And I keep telling her, please switch the channel. Please find somewhere where you don't have to keep focusing on the negative side of things. There are other things. There was a really, really, really nice video testimonial from a couple who were from Poland, and they sent me this video and they said, hey, look at the background. we're away from the city and we're just looking at the fields and the beautiful Tatra Mountains. And it was just so nice to see that video. Just realizing that sometimes you have to switch off. You can't just keep focusing on the negative stuff, especially sometimes if you know too much, it's very difficult to sleep at night. And I think the best thing to do is have a balance. Sure, keep in touch with what's going on in the world, but at an arm's length, okay? Because even the world doesn't know what's going on. One minute they found a cure for the virus, the next minute that cure's not good enough. One minute the numbers are going down, and the next minute the numbers are going up. It's just driving people insane. So just go back to simplicity. Find things that simply make you happy. Do you remember what I told you about 2 weeks ago? I was looking for these the spaghetti hoops, because I had this craving, this desire for it. And what I try to do is I find simple things that I enjoy, whether it's listening to music, whether it's just reading a book, or whether it's just, I mean, we live in the UK, I'm in London, just even stepping out and getting a bit of the sun. But please go back to simplicity. The market is simple, it moves, and the market is no dummy. Sir Sandy Jadeja, sorry, I couldn't resist that one. But it's just to go back and just change that quote into something useful. If nature is simple, is the market simple enough and the market knows what it's doing? Yes, then why are we getting in the way? Why are we trying to complicate this? Why can't we just keep the market itself as simple as possible? So basically, let's do a quick recap on what is trading. It's all about buying and selling. The point of buying and selling financial products is to make a profit, clearly, like any business. It can be done anywhere in the world, and anyone can be a trader as long as you're over 18, including you. So you're speculating on how you think the price of a product will move up or down. And that's essentially the absolute core basics of what trading's about. Now, in terms of the markets, I already covered this. We said that there are so many different markets out there, from foreign exchange, shares, indices, commodities, and even government bonds and cryptocurrencies. You've got a whole choice of which markets you want to trade. Okay? And I said to you, I'm not going to teach you. This is not the program where I'm teaching you to trade all these different markets. This program is to focus on one thing, the index, the US Dow Jones Index, and that's it. I'm not teaching you how to trade on gold. I'm not teaching you how to trade on specific stocks. Later, you decide which markets you want to trade and what it is that you're looking for. So, a simple rule: if you think the price of a market is going to go up, then you buy, you're going long. If you think the price is going down, then you sell, you're going to go short. And this rule is the same across all the different markets and strategies. So, which way? The price of the market can go either up or down. So, you're essentially speculating on how you think the price of the market will move. Now, take a look at this chart. Take a very close look. Can you see that the market is going up and down? Of course. So now you've got to ask yourself, do markets always go in one direction? Or do markets consistently move in a specific way? No, they don't. If you look at on the left-hand side, you'll see that the market moved up a considerable amount, and then it dropped, it fell down, and then it starts to go up. The second move is the same as the first move. Then the market came down again the second time, and that was also an equal move. So market moves up again, third time, but it's not as big as the previous moves. And then it suddenly takes a move to the downside. Then after that, you see the market moved up a small amount, and then it moves up again, and then it has this huge surge to the upside. So now, just by observing, you can see that there are different sizes of the movements. And all of that happened across time. So, in the process of time moving forward, the market was going up and down. but at different rates. So when we compare time and movement, we can now measure volatility. So we can say that over this period of time, this is how much the market's moved. And this is the key. I'm here to you here to know before it happens how much the market can move. And here's the answer: you don't know. You won't know. So then, how can I position myself for this? We can use certain tools for that. So, is there really no way of knowing when there's going to be big market moves? There is, but you're not ready for it. Even if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Some of you remember I said to you that watch out. This was 2 weeks ago. There could be some disruptions with, we're talking about internet, we're talking about telecommunications. If you remember me saying that, just say yes into the chat group. I'm not looking at the chat group right now because it will be a distraction for me, but later I will have a look. But many of you will know that I said and I hinted, watch out, that after next week, we should start seeing potential threats with communications and potentially the internet. And that's what's been happening over this past week. That was the conversation I was having with one of the companies this morning because of the disruptions that they faced. There are ways of knowing this, but if you tell people, they won't believe it. Paulo Coelho, when you possess great treasures within you and you try to tell others of them, seldom are you believed. It's something that you've got to open your mind to and say, I'm willing to go down that path. I really want to learn. And if you do, you'll never look back. So here's what we want to do. We want to try and capture some of those big moves and try to avoid some of those small moves. If we can do that, we're in a good position. But we need, you and me, we need volatility. Volatility is where the media try to scare people. Have you seen how volatile these markets are? They're moving erratically, they're moving up and down. It was the biggest drop since 1929, and it was the fastest in the shortest period of time. They're just using this to scare people. We're looking at this thinking, this is great. This is fantastic. This is what I'm looking for. And the key is to know across time when this volatility is going to happen. And I kept saying to you through the Success Resource events, watch out. I started in 2017. I said, look, 2017 is a key year, it's a pivotal year. And then I said, watch from 2019 to 2020, we should see a high. And then from 2020 all the way up until 2023, but the first part of 2023, it should be interesting. These are the times where we see an increase in volatility. 23, 24, 25, not so interested. It could start seeing things quieten down. Then the years 26, 27, 28, 29 get very, very interesting. It's actually the end of 2026. So is this volatility the one that we've seen now end? No, there's another phase coming. So I'm ready for that phase. And we're going to see at the last part of this year, the volatility increase. Now, the next thing then, if we need volatility, is price bars. So here's a price bar. On the left-hand side over here is the open, and the right-hand side is the close. Then at the top, we have the high, and then we have the low. But notice that on the right-hand side, the close is higher than the open. This bar has closed up. This bar, we also have the open, close, high, and low. 4 pieces of information. So we have the open on the left-hand side, the close on the right-hand side, and notice that the close is lower than the open. This bar closed down. And then sometimes what you'll find is that the open and close are at or near each other. So these are the 3 types of price bars, the 3 most common price bars. There are some other ones, but these are the 3 most common price bars that we need to observe. Now, we can look at candlesticks, which I have not taught you in this class. This is not part of the program. But the majority of the people, from the information that I've got from Success Resources, have attended the Fast Profits Trading Strategies program, which is a 2-day program. So most of you should know the basics of candlesticks. Now, I don't particularly like colors, but I've just done it for ease of demonstration here. If it's a green bar, it means it's closed up. If it's a red bar, it's closed down. And then, of course, here too, sometimes the market will just open and close together. So these are the price bars in terms of the open, high, low, close, as well as the candlesticks. Then the next thing that we need is this ticket. Once we have that information, the open, high, low, close, we can take information and then combine it with this ticket. And this is where we're going to be placing our orders or our trades. And this is not very difficult. There are two colors, red and blue. Red says sell. That means if you think the market's going to go down, you're going to use that button. If you think the market's going to go up, then you're going to buy. So you'll use the blue button. And then in the amount box, that's the amount you're trading. And in this example here, this is an order ticket. So there's a box just underneath where it says order level. You could put a number in there to say, hey, if the market reaches this level, then get me in. And on the right-hand side of that, there's a small box called stop and limit. So it gives you some further functions where you can place a stop loss and also place a profit target. The hedging button, we don't need to discuss, not for this particular program. We don't need to discuss that. So we have volatility plus the price bars and an order ticket. And you have this, you have it on your phone, you have it on your iPad, you have it on your laptop, you have it on your computer, you have it from home. You don't need to go out. You have this already. We don't need an office. We don't need staff. We don't need product services. We don't need any of those. You have everything you need. Now we have the client, and that's you. You need money, whether it's dollars, pounds, euros, yen, doesn't matter, but you need money. How much? Not a lot. I said to you that I suggest to get started, just use between £1,000 to £2,000. Okay, that's a decent amount. Now, is it decent enough to make a living? It depends. I don't know your standard of living. Some people are happy with £50 per day. Some people need 500 per day and some need 5,000. I don't know what your needs are, but you do need a basic startup capital. And I would suggest that between 1,000 to 2,000, it's good enough for you to do between £1 and the maximum of £5 per point or dollars, depending on which currency that your account is set up with. So, for example, just to give you an idea, this is Wall Street, Dow Jones. So, if you're deciding to buy $5 per point and your initial margin for that trade is $595. So, that's the initial margin. That's the amount of money that you need to place the trade on. That is not the money if the market goes against you and then stops you out. You could lose more than $595. So the most important thing is always start with a small amount. Look, if you cannot make money with $1 per point, why are you trading at $10 or $20 per point? Can you please calm down? Go slowly. Use this time to say, here's the concept, here are the tools, let me try this, let me see how I get on. Don't go and buy, everybody watches Wimbledon, looks really simple, it's just a tennis ball, hit the ball over the net. I can do that. They go and spend £200 on a tennis racket, and they can barely hit the ball even to reach the net. Look, even including myself, we are all guilty that sometimes we are overconfident. We think that we're better than we actually are. Can you please slow down? Can you please go back to basics and just start with small amounts? Once you're comfortable that you can make money with £1 or $1, €1, then increase your position size. And I'll touch on that a little bit later on. So, risk. Risk is different for different people. Some people do not want to step outside of their house. Some people do. Everybody has a different comfort zone and a different risk level. I am quite comfortable going out without a mask and without wearing gloves. I am comfortable because I have a different viewpoint on what this virus is and where the world is going to. I have a completely different viewpoint than most people. So my risk is going to be different to most people on the street. But when it comes to trading, I'm also a higher risk trader. For 18 years, I was trading intraday. And for me, that suited me very, very well because I was in and out of positions very quickly. I didn't want to hold positions overnight, but I'm older now. And so for me, I have a different style of trading. We're all different. When life brings about changes, we have to adapt. So for some people, they like intraday trading. They like to have the fast movements and be able to pocket the money and just not have to think about at night whether the markets are going to make big moves. Some people don't. They want to make very, very big moves. There's an old saying in our industry, the big money is in the big moves. And sometimes the big moves are overnight. So, for example, when you go to sleep and you wake up and you check the futures markets, you'll see that the market is already up 60, 70 points. If you had been in that move, then that means you would have captured the 60, 70 points. Now, if you do that calculation on a daily basis over 5 days, it really adds up. That's a lot of points that you're missing out on by missing the overnight moves. So you have to look at risk from your own perspective. I actually enjoy some of the longer term trades now because I don't have to watch the screen all day. You ideally want to be in a position where you can take money out of the markets each day and you want to be in a position where you can capture some of the big moves. So that means you've got the best of two different strategies. But the most important thing about risk is that you need to be aware of it. And then you need to know the tools that you can use to balance the risk effectively. So the trading companies offer you guaranteed stop loss orders. Not all the companies. I'll talk about the US companies a little bit later. I think there's only two people from the US here. But in the UK, Australia and South Africa, the company that I suggested the other day, Core Spreads, they do offer you guaranteed stop loss. We can just have a basic stop loss and limit orders. Okay, so these are things that you need to learn and start utilizing. This is the big part. It's you. And you hear about this all the time. It's such a cliche, that word. I don't even like using it, mindset. But there's no other way to really express it. Mindset is very, very important. How you think. How do you think when you're with your colleagues? How are you as a character, as a person? You might be a mother, a wife, you might be a brother or a sister. You're this one person, but when you go to work, when you go to the office, you're a different character. When you trade, there are characteristics that are going to come out of you: anger, frustration, confidence, ego. All of these things can get in the way, but you have to take a whole attitude and a whole look into who you are. Now, it's not part of this program, but on the other classes on the fast profits trading strategies, I do offer you another 2 days of a focus group where I allow 100 people to come. We go to another country in a nice place, we sit and we spend 2 days trying to go deep inside our emotional levels. A lot of people come to the focus group with the wrong idea. They think they're going to come there and learn about strategies. It has nothing to do with strategies. It's all about you. And it's about taking your deep emotional levels, your baggage, and bringing it to the surface and dealing with it. So the focus groups is, in my opinion, very, very, very important. And in that focus group, we can take a look at how your attitude is and how the attitude will then shape your behavior. Then your behavior leads you to do something. You'll get a result, positive or negative. And then, of course, you want to increase the performance on what you've just done. And it starts from your mindset. If you came on this program with the mindset, I'm signing up, I want to learn how to make money. Wow, I want to make $15,000 in 2 days or 2 weeks, like the guy did. That's the wrong mindset. If you came in with the attitude and the mindset saying, you know what, that sounds interesting. If I had that skill, then maybe that could help me. I'm willing to learn that and to see what it is that I need to do and what it would require from me so that I can have that skill set as a backup. Then you come in with the right attitude and the right mindset. If you have the mindset of saying that every day I'm going to go in and win, you've got the wrong mindset. If you go in with the attitude that what can the market offer me today and what can I take out whilst remaining calm, managing my risk, and being able to stay balanced, that's a good attitude. If you go in with the attitude that, I'm going to win some trades today, I'm going to lose some trades today, that's okay. I expect that and I'm willing to deal with that. It's good. Spend a whole week on discussing this area here, but we don't have time. But the key point is this: you've got to have the right attitude. You really do. Now, in terms of the strategies, we needed volatility. So we need volatility for fast profits. Without volatility, the market could just drift directionless. So I hope that during the week, you noticed that there were times when the market moved. Then there were times that you were sitting there just watching and watching every tick just going up and down, and nothing was happening. So you saw periods of activity and periods of inactivity. So ideally, what you want to do is to go in when there's more activity and stay away when there's not enough activity. Can we do that? Yeah. Um, does it mean that we can just look at the markets at specific times? Yes. And then just not look at the screens for the rest of the times? Of course. But why didn't you tell me that last week? I hinted at you last week. Today, because you've had the experience for a whole week, now it will start making sense. If you talk about a movie that somebody hasn't seen and you give them the concept of the movie, they may get some of it. But if you tell them to watch the movie and then you come back and discuss the movie, they'll have a better understanding. And that's why I needed you to go away for this whole week and just try it. Just see how it works. Now, there's a big difference between you and I on an online webinar than you and I in a classroom. There's a huge difference. If you read a book, a physical book, like you pick up the book and you go through the motions of the paper, the turning the paper, the smell of the book, the texture of that paper, it's very different than actually reading it on a screen. So I still love books. I physically enjoy the process of picking up the book and turning the page. I don't like digital stuff. So I was questioning, why is it that the results are different when I'm with somebody and I sit with them than just doing it online? Because there's nothing like the classroom experience. And that's why I've always been an advocate of teaching in person. There's a different ambience, there's a different feel. And yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, can you imagine the psychological impact of social distancing? Just imagine that you're single and you're at a supermarket and you see someone and you like that person, but you have to have social distance. If you go anywhere near that person's going to move away from you 1.5 meters. How are people going to be able to connect and date in the next 2 years? Because now they're saying that they want to keep this social distancing for 2 years. What are the psychological impacts that's going to have on people? So, in the same way, if this is going to be long term, that means that schools are going to change the way they're going to teach children. Children are going to be taught to sit apart. They are keeping the distance between humans. They're creating a distance in human beings. And I completely disagree with this, the way they're doing things. Yesterday, when I was out and I went to a shop and there was this guy, he had gloves on, he had a mask on, he had a hoodie on, and he was thinking he's just protecting himself. A lot of people don't realize that you can have your gloves and your masks. If this virus is that lethal, it's airborne. So that means that it doesn't matter if you're 1.5 meters away, because if the wind is carrying the particles of someone's breath, the moisture in the air, then it can go onto your skin, it can go onto your clothes, and you can breathe that. So it's just how the media have put this whole thing in front of people to say that you have to have social distancing, you have to wear masks and gloves and all this. When it comes to volatility, if this volatility continues in terms of the movements that it is right now, is going to scare a lot of people. It's going to put people off. And the sad thing is that you're going to miss some of the best opportunities in a short period of time. So just like there is going to be a storm, there's always a calm before the storm. Just after the storm, it's calm again. You have to deal with both situations. We're going to have to deal with the way people are now and how people have changed or the world is changing. But we also have to prepare that when things, they say, get back to normal, which I don't know what normal is going to be, we're going to have to deal with that. Right now, I'm enjoying the volatility. But when the markets get back to normal, it's normal. How are we going to deal with that? You won't have the opportunities that you're seeing now when things go back to normal. I kid you not. In the last few days, I've been talking to a number of people, and they're saying this is the best time period for them in terms of creating new businesses and new ways of finding solutions to problems. These markets, for me right now, as much as some people are scared, I love it because I need that volatility. So this is a look at volatility. How does it look like? How do I see volatility? And we covered this last week. The top half of the chart, you notice that's the market, and the bottom half of the chart, you notice that the volatility is high. Just before I came onto this webinar, I was questioning how comes the people that I was talking to a couple of weeks ago did much, much better than some of you are doing right now. And some of you have done phenomenally well. And the reason is I went back and I just checked. And this is an exercise for you to do. In fact, it's in front of you right now. Have a look at that indicator at the bottom. It's the average true range, and the setting is 5. Can you notice that around mid-March, that the volatility was very high? It's hitting at 2.3. That means it's moving 2,300 points per day. Okay. So if you had these techniques, the ones that you learned last weekend, and you had this around mid-March, that means that you could have got more points out of the movement and your stop losses would have been bigger as well. But right now, as you can see, the market's moving less. It's moving less than half of what it was mid-March. Always keep an eye on the average true range indicator. Hint, I'm now even seeing other people who teach trading seminars talk about the average true range when they never talked about it before at all. It's insane how non-experienced traders who call themselves experienced traders just because they've got a fancy website doesn't mean that they're experienced traders. There's a big difference between somebody working in the NHS right now and seeing firsthand what's really going on behind the scenes in the hospitals than just watching it on the news. There's a big difference. So, in the same way, when I see how we dealt with things when the market action was high or when it was low on the trading floors, and I just see what people are listening to on TV, there's a big difference there. But the average true range indicator is something that every single person who is trading should always keep an eye on because it tells you firsthand how much the market is moving and how much it can offer you and how big your risk is. The more it moves, the more money we can make, but the higher the risk is. The less it moves, the lower the stop loss, but our expectations have to also decrease as well. So keep an eye on that average true range. Now, trading styles. So investing for longer term buy and hold, that is not what we covered. This is not the program for investing. I have no interest in investing at all. So I'm more interested in different styles. Trading long money going up. Really? Look at their portfolios have been decimated. But the traders, we're making money both on the long and short side, so we can make money coming down. Do you want to trade monthly charts, weekly or daily? We did not cover that in this program. And this is why I'm getting really annoyed in the chat group, because some of you are saying, we haven't learned everything. We didn't learn so much that we can apply all of this right now. No, you didn't, because it was a 4-hour program. A monthly chart is a different trading style to a weekly or even to a daily technique. We're not touching a monthly, weekly, or even a daily chart. We're on much lower time frames. So that's why we're looking at swing trading. Swing trading is typically designed for hours, at the most, a few days. But swing trading, the term came about in the mid 90s. It's designed for people who wanted to move away from day trading and didn't want the fast action and said, I only want to trade a few hours and I don't mind holding for a few days. What I taught you last week borders on the line of swing trading and intraday scalping. I made it very clear that the techniques that you are going to be shown is for a matter of a few seconds, minutes, at the most a few hours. That means that you will be sitting in front of a screen, watching that screen, waiting for the opportunity to go in there and take a piece out. That is what we are doing here. If you want to do longer term trading for a few days, weeks, and months, this is not the program. We are not going anywhere near that. The whole purpose of this daily income is intraday scalping, going in and out multiple times per day, depending on your plan. I've offered different programs. I've offered fast profits trading strategies for 2 days, forecasting, which every single person should do and should do it twice. That's where we know the exact price turning points. And then I've talked about daily income. There are 10 different techniques. And my daily income programs changes over the years. I usually teach around 8, sometimes 10 techniques, and they change. It just changes because I'm looking to offer people new ways of looking at the markets. The fast profits trading strategies is designed to get you started. That's all. And there are techniques on there which are really good, which you can use for the rest of your life. The forecasting is what's made me my name in my industry. I was able to forecast exact turning points in the markets, and it's one where I'm trying to get you to open your mind. The first program is getting started. The second class is to open your mind, open your eyes, and daily income is to get you to become creative, for you to see things in a different way, for you to come up with your own strategies. That is the purpose of these programs. The daily income that you've done is designed purely for 2 strategies, just for you to get started, to start doing something now whilst you're at home. Now, scalping for fast profits, strategy 1. We open the Dow Jones chart. Then we add the indicators from the menu, the Keltner channel. We change the settings from the period of 13 with a shift of 1.3. And then from the indicators, we add Keltner channels again. That's optional, but I'll cover this in more detail a little bit later on. And again, we're going to change the setting from 13 with a shift of number 2. Okay, so the idea behind this is that we're using an indicator, we're using it on one market, and we're changing the settings. Okay, that's the objective of this strategy. So here are the Keltner channels at its most basic level. What we have are 3 lines. Now, there are different indicators out there. In my main daily income workshop, there is a variation of Keltner channels. It actually has nothing to do with Keltner channels. It's a completely different indicator, very different settings. But in terms of the method, They're similar. I could buy a tennis racket made by Dunlop, and that tennis racket, the whole purpose of it is to hit the ball. Whereas a Schlesinger tennis racket, the purpose is also to hit the ball. But the Schlesinger tennis racket might be made out of carbon fiber, whereas the other tennis racket might be made out of a different material. Different indicators have the same purpose, but they have slight variations. It makes a difference. It really does. So we have these three lines here. Now, at the top line, we are looking to sell below this line. That means that once the market gets in below the line, first it needs to step out, then it needs to come back in. Then we are looking to take a position so that it can come lower. If we take the look at the bottom line, we're looking to buy above this line. That means that we are waiting for the market to come down. Then we are looking for the market to go above the line and expect the market to move higher. Now, the middle line is just there as a minimum target. That's an area where we can take profit. So that is an average. That is an average area where the market most likely you'll see. I'm sure you've seen that sometimes the market came from the top line and hit the middle line very, very often. And there are quite a few times, around 33% to around 41%, where the market just reached the other side. Then there are times where the market didn't even reach the middle line or the other line. That's normal. That's what we are expecting for the market to do. All we need are these three lines. Now, the buy signals. Here's a buy signal. What's happened? The market went down. It went outside the line. And then if you notice, the close is above the line. This is what a buy signal looks like. So now what we want is the market to go above that bar. If that bar, the number is 10, the high is 10 and the low is 5, I want the next number to be 11. That means that the market has gone 1 point higher than 10. Now, in the intraday world, markets move fast. So if I'm looking at a daily bar, I would expect to place my order 10 points above the high and put my stop 10 points below the low. But in the intraday world, we are looking for plus or minus 1 point. I personally like to use +3, -3. So if the high is 10, and then I see the market go up, and then I see it's hitting 13, I'm going to go in. Then I'm going to put my stop loss, not at 5, but I'm going to put my stop loss at 2. This is just an example. Okay. Now, sometimes what you'll see is this. Can you see that this bar, the close is here? We're halfway between this lower line and the middle line. So now you have to ask yourself this, and this is a personal choice. It's you that needs to decide. Stop asking on the chat group. If you saw this number, bar number 2, and you look at entering here, then your objective, your plan, not my plan, not the other person's plan, but your plan is to say, if I get in here, my target is that middle line. Are you comfortable getting in here with a profit between here and here and willing to lose this amount? I cannot give you the answer. I can give you a textbook answer. If you're looking to make 5 points between here and here and risk 20 points, that is not a good strategy. Because if you lose 20 points and the next trade you're trying to get 5 points, you will have to win 4 trades just to get to break even. It doesn't make sense. But if you're a high risk trader, and I am, if you're a high risk trader, would you be willing to capture that small movement? Because I have experience, because I know how to get out if I don't see what the market's doing to my expectations, which I'll explain later, then I'm willing to take the trade. But what about this? Are you willing to take this trade? All three bars have met the criteria where it stepped outside the zone, came back in, and has closed above this line. Closed above the line, closed above the line. But is it worth me taking the trade just from here to here? No way. I don't care how high risk trader you are, you've got to be an idiot to take that trade. These are the kind of trades that you're looking for. These are good. These are okay. These are no-no. So now, not every bar is going to have exactly one of these three types. Sometimes the bar might be here. It might be above the middle line. It might be close to this line. But as long as it's closed just above the line, great. That is what we're looking for. So I'm sure during the week that you saw different types of bars near those lines. Then we've got sell signals. Take a look at this bar. The market went out, and when it went outside, it came back in. So here, it's closed below the line. I want to see the market go below that low. Then if I see the next bar open lower and I can see it's moving lower, as soon as it takes out that low, I'm going to place my sell trade and I'm looking to exit here. This one, it's kind of halfway. Is it really worth the trade? This is where the average true range comes in, because you've got to look. If the distance, let's say, for example, the average true range is 50 points, as an example, and I say to myself, if I can see the market's going to move, it's already moved 25 points. There's another 25 points in this move, and that 25 points could potentially take me here, and I'm doing £10 per point. That's £250. I'll be willing to take that trade. But if the average true range is, say, for example, 20 points, and it's already done 10 points, I'm looking to make that 10, not so interested. Okay, so this is why I showed you the average true range before the price bars. This one, not interested. It's too close to the middle line. But what if, Sandy, my plan is I don't want to reach that middle line. I'm looking for it to go all the way to the other side. That's okay. That's your plan. Is the market going to deliver it? I don't know. But then how do I know which trade to take? That's something you've got to make a decision on, which is why your plan needs to come in, which is why you need to understand your personality. You need to understand your risk factor. You need to understand if you can hold your emotions. These are all part of the package. But these are signals that you should start keeping a closer eye on right now to see which trades are better. If I see these, let's call it type 1, great. I'll constantly take those trades. I see these, really need to question the volatility. Is the volatility there? Yes or no? I don't care how high the volatility is. I'm not interested. You're too close to that line. I'm just not going to take that trade. If you remember, I showed you some results from two different people last week. And there's another person I showed this week. I'll see if during the break, if I actually know, I won't be able to do it because I need to message them to send me the results. Their results are not as stellar as the ones I showed you last week. Actually, it depends how you look at it. The results are good, but the number of trades that this person took is nowhere near the number of trades that two people took that I showed you last week. And the reason is because this person is quite happy just making a few hundred a day. They're not aiming for a few thousand. They just want a few hundred a day. They're actually quite happy with £50 a day. But the two people that I talked about last week, they were mostly taking type 1 and these type 2 trades. I don't know if they took these trades because I wasn't sitting next to them, but they were taking every possible opportunity when the sell and the buy signals set themselves up. Now, swing trading, for bigger moves, I gave you another strategy. We open a Dow Jones chart. We add from the indicators menu the RSI, change the settings to 21, and then we change the overbought and oversold lines to 50, and you can change the color of the indicator if you wish. Okay, so this is such an old technique. It's been around for I remember this since 1994 94, I think 91 or 94. And then when it came out in the public around 99, it was floating around for a while and then it disappeared. And then I was teaching in our industry back in 2001, 2002. Then we launched the academy in 2003. And there were some names which are prominent in the teaching world right now, I'd say. And they've been teaching this. And it just makes me laugh how they actually teach it in a slightly wrong way compared to how we used to teach it in our industry. But anyway, the point is that it still works. Now, here we go. This is just a drawing. It's just me showing you how we look at this indicator. So this has nothing to do with the Keltner channels, even though we have the upper line, the middle line, and the lower line. We're using this in a different way. We have this squiggly line in the middle, and that's your RSI indicator. The setting is 21. Normally, can you see this middle line? There will be two of those, and one will be set at 80 or 70, and one will be set at 20 or 30. What we've done is we've taken those two lines and merged it into one. So it's here, it's in the middle. So this middle line is set at 50. This indicator, the setting is 21. And here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for when the line crosses that middle. I'm looking for when the line crosses that middle line, and here, 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 and so forth. I don't care how high it goes. I don't care how low it goes. I'm just looking for when it crosses these areas. Now, in today's world, you can get software that will just send you an alert. It will make the sound of a dog barking or the sound of a fire alarm going off. That when the line crosses that middle line, instead of you having to sit there and watch the screen all day, you can set alarms. Which software? It doesn't matter. Right now, it doesn't matter. What matters is when you learn to drive a car, don't learn to drive an automatic. Learn to drive the manual car first. Then you can learn to drive the automatic car. So, which software packages? There are lots of software packages out there. I'm not even going to discuss which software packages do it here. The concept is this. When that line crosses here and here in these middle parts, that's where we're looking for a signal. So we wait for the signals at that middle line. Okay? Now, sometimes the signals are good and sometimes they're not. Hello, welcome to trading. This is our world. Now, I gave you a bonus trade idea. I wish I didn't now, but I gave you this other idea of using the vortex indicator. Sometimes you can give too much away. But the reason I gave you that, it's just because it's just an additional tool, and I'll demonstrate this later when I go into the charting package. Then I talked about this bonus trade idea about the Australian dollar, the US dollar. And I said, look, from at or around April 16th, it's not every year is the same date, but around mid-April to the middle of May, just going on to the third week of May, we sometimes see this reoccurring pattern. And for example, here between the top line to the bottom line, this is the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. Can you see that it came down? Okay. So what I'm looking for is for the Australian dollar to come down during this time window. So at the moment, we're looking at the chart and it's been going up. So in the chat group, I said to you, look for a weakness. Now, if you look at my chart, can you see the bars are green and then it turns red? Okay, so my clients are actually in this already to capture that short move coming down. At the moment, the time window, we can see that the Australian dollar is going up. So what I'm looking for is for it to stop here and then come down. Now, I'm not going to discuss what it is. I'm not going to discuss how or why, but some of you have done the forecasting class. There should be a pattern screaming at you right now to tell you that this market is setting itself up for a bearish trade. Please do not put it in the chat group. Please do not discuss in other chat groups. Some of you have taken what you've learned here in this last week's webinar and you're discussing it in the forecasting class and other, don't, because you're about to be removed. If you want to discuss anything about what you've learned in last weekend's program, you have a chat group. Keep the conversation in that chat group. Do not go and try to be a smart ass and talk about it in the forecasting programs. Hey, if you did last week's class and you applied for, stop it, because all you're doing is creating confusion for other people. They're private messaging me and it's giving me a headache, so I have to remove you. Okay, so don't do that. But the bonus trade is just, I'm looking to send you several of these trades for this year. It's just a gift. So at the moment, do I know that the Australian dollar is going to come down? I have no idea. Do I care? No. All I'm interested in is listening to the market. If the market, the Australian dollar versus the US dollar, wants to come down, I'll just say, please show me when you want to come down. And if you come down, thank you. How far are you going to go down? I can use the forecasting tools to tell me how far it wants to go. But for you in this group, because not everybody has done forecasting, I will guide you along the way. When I see the signal, when it occurs, if it's a valid signal, I'll let you know. If it's not happening, I'll keep you updated. But you will not have all the skills that other people will have because they've done the forecasting class. Now, just for some of the doubters, yes, there are a lot of you in this group in the world. They're everywhere. I sent this on the chat groups the other day. Now, not everybody in this group has done the fast profits trading strategies workshop because there's quite a lot of new people on here. So the question is it you or is it the market? February 21st, I miss Singapore. I was in Singapore. It was a Saturday. We had a coffee get together. And I said on that Saturday, hey guys, can you see the markets talking? Can you see it's telling us that it might want to go down? Can you see that we're placing an order that we don't know if it's going to go down? We're just simply copying and pasting two numbers into the order ticket. We know where we want to get in. We know where we don't want the market to go, and we'll let the market tell us where it wants to go. Let's just go for the ride. And the market declined, and declined. Nobody was talking much about the coronavirus at that time, too much as they are talking about it right now. Then on April the 6th, depending on which exit technique that you used, April the 6th, it said, hey, the move is probably over. You might want to consider getting out of your short trade and you might want to consider going long. So simple, it's taught in the first class. Here it is, very simple maths. 28892 minus 22783 is 6109 points. If you did $1 per point using $590 as your margin, it's returned you 6,109. If you did $10 per point, it's given you 61,090. If you did $20, it's given you 122,000. There are some that do around $50, not many, but there are some. So that's the short trade. Then the long trade, which is active still right now. At the moment, on Friday's close, it's given you 1,459 points. At $1 per point, that's 1,459. At $10 per point, so you need just over $1,600 on margin. That's giving you 14,519. If you're doing $20, it's giving you 29,180. I rest my case. Please, if you want to be negative, go find another chat group. Leave us alone. Let us carry on with what we are doing. That trade took less than 1 minute to place. It took $1,600 in margin at $10 per point. We didn't listen to the media. We didn't listen to the chat groups. We just listened to the market. It told us what it wants to do. We went for the ride. It's delivered some really nice profits. Can you please, from this trade, take $100 out? Remember what I told you? Go and give the money away to somebody, to people who need it. Okay. Find somewhere where someone could benefit from just a little loose change that you could donate to. So, what is your plan? not the people in the chat group, not my plan, not what the media is saying. What is your plan? So, first of all, I said create a trading account and deposit your funds. Otherwise, you can't trade. Create a simple plan. Now, I said to you, at least put a small amount of money in your trade. If you want to do a demo account, I can't stop you, but the demo account is not going to help you. There's a difference between putting a trade on, even if it's $1, than just fictitiously putting the trade on, because your emotions get involved and your emotions can drive the way forward. So please just start for real. Just do $1 per point. Create a very simple plan, then learn the platform. Get your first trade on as quickly as possible and then evaluate the trade and then start a journal. I said to you last week, there's some really helpful people on this chat group, and they've gone into detail as to what they've done. They said, look, here's the dates. This is what I'm doing. This is where I've entered. Fantastic. You're helping other people. If everybody on the chat group just did the same thing, can you imagine we'd have over 1,600 people helping 1,600 people? And then we could multiply from there. There have been so many people saying that they've heard that people who joined the class last week have had some great results. Why were they not informed of it? Why couldn't they participate in the program? I don't know. As far as I know, Success Resources had sent out an email. Some people didn't check their emails. Some people, it went into spam. Some people are saying that it was not fair. Look, I am not in control, and neither are you, of your emails. Those of you that managed to come on the webinar, you participated in this, well done. Now there's a lot of people saying that they want an opportunity and a chance to get onto this as well. So Success Resources says, can you reopen this program? And I said, at the moment, I've got no time. But 1,600 of you, I asked you, can you please start documenting your trades? Can you please start sharing valid, useful information in the group? It would really help. Then, what is your plan? Can you handle the risk emotionally from a monetary perspective? Can you control your emotions? Do you have the right starting capital? Do you have $1,000 or $800 or 2,000, 3,000, whatever the amount is? Do you have enough money in your account to at least trade just $1 per point? Then are you prepared to make mistakes? Please say yes. When you fall in love, it's not going to be a Cinderella story that your love is going to last for eternity. There will be ups and downs. You have to have your trials and tribulations. There are going to be days when you're thinking, oh my God, I just can't take this relationship. It's just not working. But you have to put the effort in. There are going to be days when you want to lift your weights, where you want to do your exercise. The consistency of every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do an hour of exercise in the morning at this time. There are going to be days when you're just thinking, I can't, I'm just not up to it. You know, I just don't have the mental capacity. In trading is the same. There are going to be days where you're going to be making mistakes. And then the idea is that if you make the mistake and say to yourself, what is it that I can learn from this mistake? Great. Then from that perspective, you can start improving. Okay. But you have to be willing to make the mistakes. Losing is part of this business. It just is. Are you going to put in the effort? Some of you I saw in the chat group, oh, I just wish I knew when the market was going to move. I could have done other things. I spent the whole day looking at the market. Hey, you spent 5 days looking at the screen. I spent 18 years doing that. You're not going to get the results that I have if you don't put in the effort. I'm not asking you to put in 18 years of watching the screen. You guys are rottenly spoiled with the tools that you have right now. You have computers that we didn't have. We had very basic computers back in those days. You have software which we were dreaming about. You have phones and laptops and iPads which we never had. You have tools which can make alarm sounds which we never had. But you need to put some effort in. In my perspective, you should spend the next 1 to 2 months observing these markets during high volatility, low volatility, looking at those price bars and how they move. My uncle had the luxury, my friend in Singapore had the luxury of sitting with me side by side, and I'm walking through every step of the process. We were having a conversation. I don't like doing this webinar because I'm sitting here looking at a blue sky, looking out of my windows. I'm looking at a microphone. I'm looking at a laptop. I do not enjoy this training environment. I don't. But it serves a purpose. It does the job. But if I'm sitting with you in a classroom and I'm able to share with you, it's a different experience. What they were willing to do, both of those people, is to say, okay, thanks very much. Let me go away for 10 days and let me see the results that I can come back with. That's great. So if you're willing to put in this effort, I know that this works. I know the techniques that I taught you in the fast profits trading strategies, in the forecasting, and in the daily income workshop, they work. It's your attitude and you're not willing to put in the effort that is bringing you down. So you have to create a plan where you're going to take into consideration everything that I've just shown you here. Now, our objective was to trade the Dow Jones, which is the Wall Street 30 on the Corespreads platform. We want to trade intraday. We don't want to have overnight positions. And the aim is to capture a profit as quickly as possible. And then we exit if the trade is showing signs of not working. Later, I'm going to show you, what does it mean? What are the signs? How do I know that it's not working? And we will trade using MTF, which is multiple time frames. That means that we're looking at 3-minute charts, but we can also look at the 15-minute and the 1-hour chart. And again, I'll demonstrate this to you. So the process was, we set up the chart and the parameters. We use the settings provided for current markets. Then we're going to find an entry bar according to your plan, because you could have taken any of those 3 bars that I showed you. Then we want to manage the trading emotions according to your plan. And please do not overcomplicate this. Okay, so these are the things that we're looking at in terms of the process. Now, what I want to do is look at the charts. So I want to now go back over this last 5 days, and I just want to take an overview of, let's take a look at the strategy. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to log into the platform. I'm going to show you how to set up the charts. So I'll walk you through that process again. Then I'm going to show you a few little neat techniques that you could now apply for this week that will help you. And it should be a lot easier for you to do things the way that I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this process. I'm going to go and look at the trades, and I'm going to say, here's a trade, here's what we should have done, and here's the result. Here's a trade that didn't work. How many times should we have tried to aim for a profit? All of these things I'm going to do whilst I look at the charts. Then, once I've looked at the charts, I'm going to go through a number of questions that have come through. And then once I've done that, we're going to do a quick recap, and I'll tell you what we're going to do next. Now, before I look at the charts, I'm going to give you a 15-minute break. All right, so 15 minutes. It's now 2:30 in London. So wherever country you're in, please be back in 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to switch off now, and I'm going to be back in 15 minutes. Don't worry if my screen goes blank. I'll come back in. But I'm going to ask Nikki to take over, put some music on for 15 minutes, please, and then I'm going to come back in.
All right. Thank you, Sandy. We're going to see you shortly. Let me share my screen. So here we go. Okay, guys, please be back in 15 minutes. So it's London 2:45, Johannesburg time 3:45, Dubai time 5:45, and Singapore time 9:45. We'll see you shortly. Bye.
wise man once said, "The will to win, the desire to succeed,
What takes guts is to put yourself on the line.
the urge to reach your full potential.
A leader makes the way.
These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence." Success Resources is the world's leading events promoter of business, personal development, and wealth creation programs. For over 30 years, we've helped over 10 across 30 countries unlock their full potential. From North America to Europe to Africa to Asia to Oceania, we are the key to your personal success. We open the door to the world's best speakers such as Anthony Robbins, Sir Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, and T. Harv Eker, to name a few. We have over 500 events a year and access to the greatest thinkers, achievers, and motivators of our time. We guide you to the success that lies in every one of us.
But you will not discover your greatness in your comfort zone.
We have never really truly reached our destination. There's always another level to strive for. Your best is yet to come. Success Resources, your learning partners.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. So, I'm going to pass it now back to Sandy. Sandy, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Nikki. Right, let's just make sure we've got all this working. Okay, tech issues from my side. Just give me a second. Right, we should all be back on the screens now. So let's go ahead with this. Now, I want to take you on to the charts. So let's have a look at the charts itself. Now, here we have the Core Spreads platform. And what you'll see is just the basic platform. As soon as you log in, you'll see this is how it looks. Okay. Now, what I want to do is to walk you through just a couple of ideas. I want to walk you through and see if you can improve going forward into this week. Just little techniques that you could apply and see if you can improve yourself. Okay, so let's have a look at that. First things first, let's go to the Wall Street. Now, the market's closed at the moment. We'll do a live training session either this week or next week. I'll get you a live training session coming in. But for now, let's just take a look at this chart here. And first things that I want to do is I want to just start simplifying and just clearing things out. So can you see this box on the left-hand side? You can see that that's the ticket. And that's basically where you'll be placing your amount to trade. For example, you're doing $1 or $5, and then either you're going to be going long. Okay. I've got a 3-minute chart here. So if I zoom in, then I can see the price bars. Okay. Now be careful with this thing here, Smart Zoom, because sometimes this thing can get into the way. You'll find just the charts just moving, sliding across left and right. And I usually like to have it switched off. Okay, let's do this. Let's go and switch this ticket off. So now we've got a nice clean chart. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to studies and I'm going to look for the Keltner channel. Okay, so let's find the Keltner channel down here. And where are we? Just here. And it looks horrible. So what I'm going to do is to right click on the Keltner channel, click on edit settings, and I'm going to change that to 13. And I'm going to put this as 1.3. And I don't like this channel fill, so I'll get rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the channel fill just over here and click on done. So that's basically your Keltner channel. Now, this is what I like to do. I this is just me. You don't have to do this. So I'm going to click on edit again. And the top one, I'm going to turn that into red because I'm looking to sell there. And the bottom one, I'm going to turn that into blue because that's where I want to buy. And the middle one, I can just put it as yellow. And that's potentially where I might want to consider taking my profits. So I'll click on done over here. Then I'm going to go to views and I'm going to save this view. And let's just call it, for now, just to keep it really simple, I'll just call it Sandy 1. Okay, so I'm going to save that as Sandy 1. Now I'm going to click on studies and then I'm going to add Keltner channel again. And then I'm going to click on it, click edit settings, change that to 13, and then change that to 2. And then I'll click the channel fill off and I've clicked done. Okay, so these are the outer channels. And again, I can go to views and I can save this view, for example, as Sandy 2. Okay, so now I've got 2 views. So if I go to views, I can switch back and forth between these 2 views. Can you see that? So that will help you. So I'm going to click on the Sandy views 1 just for now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in here and just zoom out a little bit. So this was the 3-minute chart and this was Friday. So if I scroll along, so let me just start from here. I can see there's a sell signal here. So notice that the market went up and it went outside of the red and came back in. Now, over here, this crosshair, this is where we can move around and put our crosshair on the bar and it actually tells us the highs and the lows. You can see the date and the time, the close, open, high, low, and then you can see the Keltner channel as well. Okay. So at the moment, that low is 23,953 and it went to a low of 47. So 23,947. It's not much, but you can see it doesn't even reach the yellow line. Okay, so that trade did not work. It did not work. It was not a good trade in that it was a good trade because it gave a signal, but it just didn't reach the line. So what would happen? We're stopped out. Then, of course, if you come down here, let me just stop this crosshair thing. If you come down over here, you'll see, let's just go back to here. You'll see over here, there's a signal to go long, that one there. And straight away, the market went up and it reaches after 6 minutes, it touches the yellow line. Is that a good trade? It's okay, but it's not that great. Why? If you look, the high and the close is halfway between this blue line and the middle line. So even though it worked, the risk was higher. So this is where you've got to make that decision that if you traded here and you were stopped out here, were you willing to take that trade just to make that small amount of profit? Or was it your plan to take this trade and to aim for the red line? It's only you that can decide that. You will never know whether it's going to reach the middle line or the red line. If you know that it's going to do that, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to take you out for lunch and pay you because you cannot know that. All you know is where you're going to enter and what your position size is and where you will exit if the market's wrong. Beyond that, you know nothing. Okay. If anyone tells you that they know, just walk the other way because you don't know. So that was an okay trade. That one didn't work. Now let's go back again, just zooming in a little bit here. Can you see here? This stepped out, then it steps back in. So over here, we want to see the market break above the high of that bar, and then it goes up. Okay. So again, if I look, for example, put my crosshair there, and the high on that bar is 935. So we want to get in either 1 or 3 points above the high of that bar. What's your plan? And then it's closed over here at 952. So that's closed at 952, which has given you 17 points. So 17 points at $10 is 170. And if you're doing $5 per point, then obviously you're going to make half of that, which is going to be $85. If you're doing $1 a point, it's $17. So let's talk about your plan. What is it? Are you looking to make $50 a day, $100 a day, $1,000 a day? Please be realistic. You've got to start with a very simple plan. And I would think that your first simple plan is to let me try to understand how this works. Let me understand how to put my trade on. Let me understand how to manage my emotions. These are basic things you could start with. Let me understand how to close the trade when I want to exit the trade. So all of these are really simple things that you could start working with. Okay. Then let's go back a little bit again. So this trade here, can you see this one? This bar stepped out. This one, it steps back in. I want to see the market go above the high of this bar, which this one does. It comes down, we're stopped out. That trade didn't work. This trade worked. This trade worked. Then look, you look at this bar over here, it steps out, comes back in, the close. It's the close that must be below the line. The next bar goes underneath the low. 6 minutes later, you've made between here and here the number of points, whatever the number of points are. So let's just take a look at that low. That low is 996. So if you take 996 from this low here, which is 980, it's not much. It's a 16-point move. That's $160. Now, let's go back into here. Let's find another one. Okay, now here's a trade. Look, this one, let me just zoom in a little bit. This one came out, but this one closes above, but it's also reached the middle line. So you cannot take that trade because if you're looking for the break of the high, it's already done it. And there's another one here. The market came in. Look, this one over here, it does not go above the high, came back down, comes back in. We take out the high of this bar. 6 minutes later, it's reached its target. This one here, it steps out, steps back in. This bar takes out the high, but it also stops you out. It did not work. Then we go back over here. Let's have a look at these. There's one here that doesn't trigger the high. Then it came back out again. It goes back up. It is already at the middle yellow line. These are already at their middle lines. No good. So you see, the question is, are you following the simple rules? I hope now that you're seeing this the second time, you're thinking, oh my God, what an idiot. I've not been following the rules. I've been making mistakes. I've been jumping in emotionally or blindly, and I've just been making crazy, crazy, silly mistakes. There was a guy from Malaysia sent me a message. It was actually this morning, and really long message. And the gist of it was that, hi, Sandy, hope you're well. Thank you for keeping in touch with us during these times in the chat groups. I just wanted to say, I did your class a few years ago, and I borrowed the money of my father to do your class. And I really ended up hating you because I lost my money. But now I look back and I realized that it wasn't you, it was me. I wasn't following the rules. I made the mistakes, and I just want to apologize, even though I never told you this before, but I just want to apologize to say I made the mistakes. I'm still a student at university, but I've learned a skill for life. We all make mistakes. Look, sometimes I type messages in a chat group and there's typos in there because I can't see, the screen is too small. Sometimes I jump in too early on a trade or maybe too late. Or sometimes I was supposed to send a letter 2 days ago and I've sent it 2 days late. We all make mistakes. It's okay. But as long as you come to realize that you've made the mistake, and then you got to ask yourself, is there a way that I can improve it? Fine. That's the way life works. We all make mistakes. You know, sometimes we make big mistakes in life. Sometimes we make small mistakes. It's okay. That's part of life, and we live with that. So now you can see over here, this one's come back in, but the next bar takes out the low and it doesn't go down. So sometimes you will find these trades don't work. Now, remember, we're scalping. So the objective is to try and capture very fast, the small movements, and they could last from 3, 6, 9, 12 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer. When this volatility subsides, you'll find that it won't happen in 3 to 6 minutes. It will usually take about 18 to 21 minutes for it to reach target. So now this is where we can start adding. If I go back to studies here and I go and look for the average true range. Okay, so let's go and find that. Here's the average true range indicator. And I'm just going to take that up, right click on it, click on edit settings, change that to 5. And there we go. Let's just color that green just to tell us, okay, this is how much it's moving. Okay, so that's a little bit clearer. So let's just look around this area here. I'm going to put my mouse back on that crosshair, just any bar. And at the bottom, you'll see ATR5. It's telling you that on average, there's a 25-point movement per 3-minute bar. Okay, and it will change. It won't change a huge amount. You can see it's 23, 24. Then it's back to 26. This particular one was 26 here. So we know that on average, we've got a 23 to 25-point movement here. And that's how the average true range can help you. So when it comes to placing your trade, when you see that, okay, I've just placed my trade, I know the market on average is moving 23 to 25 points. I know that if I'm entering here, I'd love to make 100 points. I really would. But I know the market right now is offering me 23 to 25 points. So let's say, for example, I did $10 per point, just to keep it simple. I've just entered short, and on my P&L, I can see I'm making $210, $220, $230. Bang, I'm going to take it. You know why? Because that's what the market's offering. Your mind is going to say, $230. Let me just wait for it to get to 250 because it's a nice round number. Oh, now that I'm at 250, it would be so nice if this can just go to $300. And it goes from 250, 260, 250, 240, 230, 210. Why didn't I take the 250? 190. What shall I do? 150. It's okay. When it goes back to 200, I'll take it. 110. And that's the game you're playing. It's pure emotion. You didn't have a plan. You didn't ask what is the market offering. You're just purely trading out of emotions. I don't know. I'm not seeing the chats on here. I've looked at the Q&A during the break. But if you think that that's what you were doing, because later I'll have a look at this chat. We'll be able to download it and I can see the questions on there. If that's honestly what you're doing, just simply say yes in the chat group and wherever else they've given you the facility. Because I can only help you if I know what problems you're facing. Okay. And as I said, it's difficult here because we're online. All I can see is a flashing number, like 70 plus people. Okay. Now that we've realized that that's what we're doing, how do we improve? Look at your average true range. I started this program and I started last week with the average true range. The average true range tells us, and look, it's 12 o'clock at lunchtime here. Can you see that the average true range is going down? It means that our expectations for our profits should be coming down. When it starts to rise, then our expectations for our profits can increase. Look, a child can see this. A child will say, Mummy, Mummy, it's going up. Oh, good. If it's going up, it means that it's giving us more profits. Or if it starts coming down, you can start seeing, okay, then I've got to start expecting not so much. So if you go back to look at March, mid-March, you'll see that the average true range was higher than where we are now. And that's why those two people, they were making on average between $300, $400 because the ATR was higher. Sometimes what they saw was things like this, like the bar just closed below, for example, the yellow line, and they were aiming for that here. Now, I can't show you now because the market's shut, but once the trade is live, what you want to do is to get rid of the risk. And that means moving the stocks in your account. Let's say, for example, you did have a trade on and it will sit here in open positions. Okay. when that trade is on, what you can do is actually amend the trade and you can go in there and put a stop loss. So by putting the stop loss on, at least you're protected. Then you can say to yourself, okay, in case the market moves up against me, I'm out. It's better to be out of the trade wishing you were in than being in the trade wishing that you were out. It's an old market saying. So, sure, you could have put a trade on and you're making $60, $80, $100, $120. Now, what you really want to do is go and get your stop loss and put it to exactly where you entered, just in case it goes the other way. It stopped you out. Okay, you haven't lost anything. Maybe you lose 1 or 2 points, but it's better than sitting in a position losing 180 to $200. Okay, that's a skill. That's a technique. That's something you have to practice, and it will take time. Not long. If you do it, practice for 1 or 2 days, you know how to do it. You don't even need 1 or 2 days. You just need 1 or 2 hours. Okay, so hopefully you can start seeing how this can help you, and just literally going back bar by bar and saying to yourself, okay, I entered here and I exited here. How would you reward yourself? You should reward yourself by saying, I followed the rules. Okay. I'm trying to find a nice bar because most of them actually already reached almost the middle lines. Look, this is one here. I like this one. Why? The market stepped out. Can you see the average true range has been going up? That's a good sign. And can you see that the close is just above the blue line? This is a bar that I would like to marry. It's a beautiful bar. Why? ATR is high. The close is just above the blue line. I want to enter just 1 to 3 points above the high of this bar, and I want to aim for the yellow line. So 3, 6, 9 minutes later, the market's given us some money. How much? Let's take the high of that bar, which is 183. So it's 24,183. And then 3, 6, and trust me, that 9 minutes is a long time. It's agonizing. It's painful. You're dying to go to the toilet. You want to drink something, but you can't go to the kitchen because every point that's moving is money and you are attached and it's got you hooked. It's got you and you cannot move away. So the market's moved 24 to 11. Someone sitting next to you and saying, take the money, take the money, take the money. You're making $200. Are you kidding me? That's just giving you 28 points. At $10, that's 280. Now you've got to remember that there's a spread involved. So most likely you made about 240 or 250 on that trade. Now, if you can get these type of trades, even just 2 trades a day, that's $500. And if you're timing those trades by just 5 days, and there's so many during the day, that's $2,500 a week. In a month, you're making $10,000. Hello, 25 points, 2 trades a day, $10,000 a month. It's a nice target to aim for. Why would you not want to learn this skill? So some trades you're going to lose. So at the end of the month, you won't have 10,000. You're probably going to have around 7,000, give or take thereabouts. But you're sitting at home, you're looking at one platform, you've got some nice colored lines on there. The market's dancing around and you want to dance with the market. Or do you want to go out, get on the subway or on the bus or whatever it is that you take to go to work, deal with the toxic people at work. You don't even know if the company is going to survive. And all they're doing is making you work really long hours. They're telling you that, oh, we're doing this for the best for you. It's for the best for the company. It's for the best of the world, but you don't get rewarded. It's never enough what you do. That's how these companies are. Instead, create your own economy, stay home. Once you've reached your target, switch everything off. Well, you can't go out, sorry, but I used to just go out, go for a walk, go and get a coffee, do something. Spend time on educating yourself, spend time being a consultant, do something. What is your plan? Sit all day, get as much money as possible, sit there, have a target. Once the target's reached, switch off, grab a coffee, hot chocolate, whatever it is. Don't watch the news, it's depressing. I hope this is opening up your eyes. I hope you're seeing the mistakes that you're making. I hope it's giving you some ideas. So let's move on. Now, I want to go and look at Sandy 2. So this is where we added the 2 channels. Why did I do that? It's just a point of reference. Sometimes the market steps out and you're wondering, where is it going? Quite often you'll find that it reaches the higher line. So I still want to see it come back in. Now, this is just a hint, okay? What happens if I see something like this and it comes out and the market, you can see over here, it popped up. Can I take this trade or should I wait for the one that it goes inside? Technically speaking, you're supposed to wait for the one that goes inside because you can see, even though that these steps outside the outer line, the trades aren't that great. It's better when it's inside that line. But I can't stop you if you're a high risk trader. My uncle is not a high risk trader. He's an extremely high risk trader. Sometimes he baffles me how he thinks every single opportunity. Personally, I think life was in his favor and he just did it for 13 days. He was supposed to do it for 10. He's still doing it. He's still on a good run. But don't overstay your welcome. If you've had a good day, take a break. Go and do something different. Go and enjoy life, whatever it is that you want to do. I just have these second lines that personally, what I do is I look at this one. I don't really use that one. I just have it there. I like my chart to be set up like this. It's colorful, looks nice. I know what I'm doing. If I want to, and this is your choice, then you can use candlesticks. I personally don't like it, but let's say, for example, I'm sitting here and my laptop's over there and I'm just sitting and I don't really want to sit at the desk, then I can see from a distance, I can see this much clearer than if I'm looking at the price bars. So sometimes I will switch backwards and forwards between candles and the bar just only to keep an eye on it. Now, I have another software, and that software, what it does is it rings alarm bells. So I know when it's reached target, there will be an alarm bell. So I'm actually not even watching the screen. I have things in place for that, but that's for a later stage. I just want to show you this for now. Now, let's do this. Let me take this off. I want to remove these studies here. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that for now. And I'm going to add the RSI. So let's go in and find the RSI. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Okay, let's go and find the RSI, which is here. So let me add the RSI. Let's bring this up a little bit here. I'm going to right click on this, edit settings, change that to 21. Now remember, we want to change these to 50. Okay, so I'm going to change that to 50. Also this one here. And oops, let's go back, change that to 50. And what we'll do is if it's up, I want to color this one. If the market's going up, let's make that blue. And if the market's coming down, please show me that it's red. Okay, so I can visually see that the market's been coming down and it's been going up. It came down, it's been going up. So this technique, what you're doing is waiting for the change in color over here. So for example, it was blue here and then it went. Now, all this is blue and at this point it turns red. What you'll find is that with this technique, you will most generally and most get more points than using the first technique. The reason is because this is more of a trend based. The other one is a very fast scalping based. But with this technique, there's a lot of false moves that you'll get, but you have to be willing to accept more losses. What I mean by that is, let's say you've got 10 trades, you'll probably lose 4, 5, maybe even 6 trades. But the 3 to 4 trades that you'll get out, they can be some phenomenal winners on this. Again, the best way to do it is when you've placed your trade, let's say, for example, here, because that's not a good trade here. It's gone up. Can you see the market starts to go up and it goes up here? I would like to move my stop loss from here to here. And if I get stopped out, it's cost me nothing. And the same here. See, on this bar, it came down. As the market comes down, I'll bring my stop loss from here into where I entered, and it's a free trade. It's cost me nothing. Now, how to exit this trade? Okay, let's be smart. Let's go to studies and let's go and find average true range. So I'm going to go in here, find my average true range, put the average true range there, and right click on the average true range, click on edit settings, change that to 5. If you want to make it green, just for the sake of it, color that green. Okay. So at this point, can you see here that the average true range is 16 points? So you could do something like this, and this is how you would trail your stops. As soon as you see the market's going down, okay, so it's coming down, you're targeting 16 points, and it keeps coming down, it keeps coming down. If it goes 16 points against you, now in the real world, the professional world, this is how we would do it. We would take the 16 and we'd multiply it by 2. So that would become 32. So I could do something like this. I could get in the trade. My first objective is to move my stop loss to where I entered so that it would become a free trade. So if I see the market go back up, it stops me out, then it's cost me nothing. If the trade keeps going in my direction and I haven't been stopped out, then I'm looking at every 16 points, every 16 points, every 16 points. But if it jumps up by a factor of 2, so it goes up to say 32 points, then I'm going to call it quits. I'm out of the trade. That's one way. I mean, there are so many different ways. Another way is to say, I'm going to keep it red. If it goes blue, I'm out. So you're basically just playing the changes between the color. Not ideal. It's okay. As long as you've got your stops moved to break even, everything is great. So again, these are concepts and ideas. Why did I not teach this last week? It's too much. It's overwhelmed. You cannot take everything in just one go. If I was doing this live in a class, you can. It's a different learning experience. But online, it's too much. Okay, because I have the flip charts in the class. I can go through a number of different things. So now you've got the RSI, which tells you whether the market's bullish or bearish, and the average true range, which is still telling you how much the market's moving. So again, what I'm going to do is, just for now, I'm going to remove the average true range. And a couple of days ago, there was a really big move. Here it is, actually. Okay. Do you remember there was this day where the market closed higher and then you went to sleep? Actually, no, I went to sleep. You guys were waking up in Asia. So us in Europe, we were about to go to sleep and we woke up like, what the heck? The market went up because apparently they found a cure for the coronavirus. How would you have caught that move? Again, look, this is hindsight. It depends on personal strategy. So there was a nice trade coming down, and then towards the close, it was edging higher. That was okay. The short trade didn't do well. But here's the bar. So you can see that on the 16th of April, that at 7:06 p.m., this market's telling you to get in. The high on that bar is 23,386. 23,386. Now, just over here, can you see it went red? Okay, just let me zoom in for you. Oops. Okay, can you see it just went red there? But the market never went below the low of that bar. So one of the things that you could have done is, because it's turned red, we could move our stop loss to the low of that point. And the market just kept going. And we fell asleep. And then, I mean, I normally wake up anyway around 3, 4 o'clock. It's just my sleep patterns are very weird. Then let's say you were watching it, those of you that are in Asia, it turns red just over here on that bar there. You have to wait for the low of that bar to be taken out, which it does. That's 24,353. Take away 24,353. That's giving you 964 points. 964 points, times that by $10. You made 9,640 when we woke up, or when you guys in Asia were watching that. That's a nice trade. Okay, so every so often you'll get these, sometimes a lot more than that, sometimes less than that. But that was a nice trade. And I was watching the chat group. I have no idea what kind of drinks you guys are drinking or what food you eat, but I was watching people saying, I just did the RSI trade and I was losing money. And I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. This morning when I was, not this morning, sorry, yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine, he's a trader. He's based out in the US. And he was asking, he's like, why do you even bother to teach this stuff to people? Why do you waste time? And I said, do you remember in the early days when we wanted to learn and we were asking people to teach us? And like, nope, our industry is such that it's very closed off. Nobody wants to teach you. If someone's making money, like, why should we show them? This makes no difference to me if I show it to you. You're not taking money out of my pocket. I'm trying to help you here. And I'm hoping that at some point you'll be able to help somebody else. These kind of returns are good. Why not? And every so often they come along. There's a nice trade there. This one's okay. It's a nice trade there. These are $3,000 to $7,000 moves. There's another move here. Go do the maths. Okay. Don't tell me this doesn't work. You are not working. There's something wrong with you. You need a break. Sometimes take a break. Don't trade on one day. Just say, today, I'm not looking at the markets. I'm switching off. Very hard to do. Because you have a phone in your hand. You always want to see what the market's doing. Look, these are nice. And I'm only looking at a 3-minute chart. I haven't even changed timeframes yet. Okay. So now, watch this. I think should I show you or not? What the heck? Okay, look, let me show you something. Okay, look, you can go and do something like this. I shouldn't be showing you this because it's just too much, but okay. I'm going to edit these Keltners. I'm going to go back to 13, 1.3. Why do I do this? Okay. And let's call the top one red. The bottom one, we're going to call that blue. And the middle one yellow. Okay, click on done. So I'm going to go to views and I'm going to save this as, if you can do your maths right. Yep, it's Sandy 3. Okay. Okay. Now, can you see that during this time, the market's bullish? Okay. And during this time, the market's bearish. Because this is the trend, when this is bearish, you actually ideally want to look for sell signals. You can take the buy signals, but they're going to be more risky. During this time, you're actually looking for buy signals. And you want to try to avoid the sell signals because they can be risky. But then there's a conflict because sometimes, like here's an example, sometimes this is a really nice trade, but this is bullish. This is where you get into this state that when you start adding more and more and more indicators, one thing saying do this, the other one's saying that. That's why I would say to you that have a look at this and ask yourself, do I prefer this technique knowing that I've got to get in, out very, very quickly? Or do I prefer this technique where I'm getting much more points and I don't really have to worry too much about taking a small profit margin? I like these because I can afford to lose. I can take a loss, 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 and a big trade comes in, covers all my losses, and I'm still in profit. And that is the nature of trend trading, that everybody's in that field is prepared to take multiple losses. So now let's talk about losses. Here's my plan. If I take a trade and I just took a loss, my plan for today is I'm going to take 2 more trades. During the day, if I've taken 3 losses, I'm done. It's quits. Okay, I'm out. So I'm not going to keep fighting and say to myself, today, I want to make back what I lost. No, today's not the day. I'm out. I'm gone. I'll come back tomorrow because there's another tomorrow. There's another tomorrow. There's another tomorrow. There's another tomorrow. But there's not enough money if you keep fighting, trying to win back. You're just not going to survive. All right. So another thing that I do is this. Let's say, for example, I was doing, this is not so much part of this particular class, but if you come on to do the full program, the daily income, we go into a lot more detail there. But one of the techniques I would do is this. It's called downsizing. If I've been trading at $5 per point and I took a loss, my next trade, I could go down to $4 a point. The next trade, $3 a point. The next trade, $2 a point. The next trade, $1 per point. And I'll keep trading at $1 per point until I start winning again. Then, when my account reaches a certain percentage, I can go to $2 a point, $3 a point, $4. That is the way to make large returns. And it's called position sizing. So that is a way that we will do it. I don't want to go into it right now because it's just way over a lot of people's heads at this stage. We're teaching things piece by piece. But today, as I said, the objective of today is a recap. It's of everything we did last week, is to show you things again. And I'm sure, I don't know, I haven't seen the chat groups because I don't see it on my screen, but I'm sure that you've realized that it's not the market, it's not me, it's you. You were not following the rules. Maybe you forgot, or maybe you just didn't want to apply it. Maybe you were too emotional. Maybe you were just too greedy. All of that is okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's okay. But as long as you can say, I made the mistakes. You know what? My game plan for this week is I'm going to go in, I'm going to improve. I know my mistakes. I know this works. Start with that attitude. Okay. Cut the noise down in the chat group. Stop talking too much in there. It's annoying. Please, Saturday, Sunday, switch off. Take a break. Your phone needs it. My phone needs it. Every time you send messages, my phone is eating up a little bit of the battery and we're killing the ozone layer. Stop it. Take a break on Saturday and Sunday. Just limit the times on chat groups, limit the times on what you're doing in the markets. I told you this can be very addictive. You could sit there all night watching this stuff. You don't want to be doing that. Okay, so that's today you've learned how to create and save your charts. Today you've learned how to color these. Today you've learned about how knowing what the trend is, whether it's bullish or bearish. Now, let me just do something here. Let me take off this Keltner channel for now. Okay, and we're just going to look at this technique, the RSI technique. So let's talk a little bit about multiple time frame analysis. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a 15-minute chart. Okay, so here's my 15 minutes chart, and let's go to here. Can you see that on a 50-minute chart, you'll get different results to on a 3-minute chart because the time frame is different. You're looking at much longer term time frames. Sometimes the moves can be bigger. Not sometimes, sorry. Quite often the moves can be bigger, but so can your stop losses. Now, if I go to our next time frame, which is the 1 hour, because we're not interested in so much the very, very long-term time frames, you can still trade this technique on the hourly charts or the 15-minute charts and look at the results. They're still good. If you stick to the plan, okay, if you just stick to the plan, I told you every so often you get these nice big winners. It's like a surfer. If you speak to a surfer, they go out into the sea and they're waiting for the wave to come. And the wave comes, they take it, and it was an okay wave. Then another wave comes, it was okay. And then suddenly the wave comes. It's like fishing. You sit there and you're fishing, you're waiting for the fish to come. You pick up a little fish and another fish, and the big fish comes. Life teaches us a lot. Trading teaches you about life. Every time people come on my class for trading, I keep telling them, you sign up for trading, I'm going to teach you about life. And so even here, these are the big whales in our time frame. That's nice. These are the little fishes. This one here, that's a big whale. Okay. There's a big whale going to the upside. Go and do the numbers. Like if you just put your mouse on there, and this is just approximate right now. So let's say the high there is 28,541 until here. So 28,541. What's the low on that bar? 29,228. And that's 687 points. So 687 times your $10, that's 6,870 in a few hours, not in a month, in a few hours. So why do you work? Why do you go to your companies and work? Come on, open your mind, open your eyes, realize the mistakes you're making, iron out the mistakes, improve what it is that you're trying to do with the entries and exits, moving your stop losses. Okay. So let me go back to 3 minutes. So that's what multiple time frame analysis is. We're looking at the longer term time frame. So for example, right now we can see that on the hourly chart, it's blue. Then on the 15-minute chart, it's also blue. So then what you want to do is when it comes down to the 3-minute chart, if it's red, we don't want to take it. We're waiting for this to turn red and then turn blue. And as long as my 15 is blue, as long as my hourly is blue, then on the 3-minute, when it turns from red to blue, I'll take the trade. That means the hourly is going up, the 15 minutes going up, and the 3 minutes going up. So that's your multiple time frame. If, for example, the market's coming down, then you'd be basically doing the opposite. Okay, so that's a very simple way of looking at multiple time frame analysis. I'll just show you one more. Let's have a look at the vortex. Here's the vortex indicator. Now, over here, I've just kept the RSI on there just for now. Both the RSI is bullish and the vortex. That's nice. Over here, let's turn this off. Over here, this is negative. This is negative. They're both in sync. Sometimes when they're both in sync, like this is not in sync. This is bearish. This is bullish. This is like a husband and wife. They don't get on with each other. They don't talk to each other. But this husband and wife are talking to each other. He's bullish, she's bullish, and they're both in harmony and it's going up. So, for example, here, see, this is going red. That's nice. They're talking to each other. That's bearish. That's bearish. So they're talking to each other, but now they're not in sync. This is bearish and they're bullish. They're out of sync. It's not working. The vortex is just nice because you can very quickly see. Let's just save this for now. I'll just save that as Sandy 4. And if I just take this off so you can see the vortex, isn't it clear that when it's green, it's bullish, and when the red's on top, it's bearish? It's a nice, handy indicator to have. The results are actually okay. I think any trading system, a good trader can make a poor trading system work. So if you follow the rules that I've taught you, wait for the signal bar. When the market allows you, move your stop loss from where you entered. Move your stop loss to where your stop loss was originally to where you entered. That means that the trade becomes risk-free. That's a good position to be in. So it doesn't matter if you keep getting stopped out. So the vortex indicator, if you can even apply those techniques, then that's gonna throw you something else today. Shouldn't really do it, but what the heck. Last night I got really frustrated with this person, and the conversation I started off earlier with you today was that just trying to show this person that, look, seriously, if you can't do this, then just walk away. Don't do trading. So I've taught this in the first class. It's just a simple tick. Just turn that to green for now. Okay. So again, look, what's the hourly chart doing? Let me just move across here. Okay. The hourly chart was bullish here, not here, bullish here, not here, and so forth. If you come back down to your 3 minutes, whenever the hourly chart is bullish, let's say the hourly chart was bullish here and it came down, do not go short. If the hourly chart is bullish, do not go short here. Wait for it to climb up here and then take the long trade. If the hourly chart here, for example, let's say the hourly chart is bearish on the hourly chart, don't take this trade, but take this one. You would have been stopped out. Take this one, you would have caught this move. Where do you exit? When it gets back on the other side of the green line. So basically what we're doing is this. It's like I taught you in the first class. Here's a line. I need to pen. Right. So here's a line. Okay, that's a green line. And when that black line goes above there, we want to go in to go up, get out. If the market's short, then you want to go in short and get out when it crosses that green line there. So you can apply that technique to a 3-minute chart. Look, you'll catch some ridiculous moves. These are really crazy, crazy, crazy moves here. But when we get stopped out here, that's when we say, if I've been stopped out 3 times, I'm going to stop. Like over here, this is horrible. That's not working. So I'm going to stop trading. And when I start seeing the system working again, then I'll come back in. Okay. So that was taught. This is what I taught the lady last night. So just stick with this. So if you could look at the hourly chart. So this is a 50 period moving average. Okay. For those of you that are new, let me just do it again for you. So all I'm doing is I'm going in. There's a moving average. It's 50 period. I just keep it simple. And you can color it whatever color you want. It's fine. Okay. So that's an hourly chart. This is your daily chart. Can you see how it's now approaching the target? Okay. You see how it dropped? That's a very, very big drop. So I've told you in the class that the 50 period moving average is a good moving average to keep an eye on. This is long term, but I'm just saying that we do use this. You can, if you want to, you can use it on a short term basis. So we've pretty much covered everything here. Now what I'm going to do is I've got a whole bunch of questions. So I'm going to go through these questions with you. Now, I'm not going through 1,600 questions. I'm just going to go through the common repeating questions. First one is, I'm not from Europe. I'm from the USA. So there's only, I think, 2 of you from the USA, or you're from Belgium. So can I do this? No, not with the company that I mentioned, core spreads, but you can do this. Yes, the techniques work in every country. So what you guys would need to do, the ones that are based in the US or in a country which core spreads didn't allow you to open up an account, is just go to Google, because Google is location specific. So if I'm using Google here and I type in brokerage company, it will give me the UK brokerage companies. If I type in the US, it will be the ones where they have paid their ad spend, and it will be specifically for the UK. But if you're based in the US and you search for a brokerage company in the US, TradeStation is one, Scott's Trades, there's so many, there are thousands of them. Just find a company which has very, very, very low commissions, because you guys there will charge you commissions, and something which has low spreads. The spread is the difference between the buying and selling price. But the techniques, they work, whether you're using futures, CFDs, ETFs are very long term, so we don't touch that stuff. So the techniques definitely work for the US. Hey, listen, I spent, I think, almost 2 decades in the US. And after the US, I started focusing in the UAE region. And for the last 10 years now, is Asia. So it works all around the world. Even if you're from Belgium, you find the companies, the trading companies in Belgium. But what about these charts? But they won't have these charts. Wake up. You can open up a demo account here with a UK address, whichever address you want to put in there. You can put Pizza Hut's address in there if you want. And it will give you access to the demo account. So you have an account in the US, which you're trading with, but you're taking all the indications of this chart. Okay. I didn't say that, but let it sit in your brain for a while. Now, when does the market move? I don't want to sit there all day, because I want to go and do my makeup and my hairdressing and all that from the ladies. Again, your first week was observation. I didn't want to put everything on a plate. I wanted you to sit there and watch the market the whole week and not go to the bathroom and not go and have a tea or a coffee. Why? So that you can experience what it's like sitting and watching a screen all day. But if you did what I told you and you got yourself a diary and a notepad, you will start noticing that there are times when the market moves a lot and there are times when it doesn't. Now, we're focusing on the US Wall Street. So the US Wall Street, it opens at 8:30 in New York, which is 2:30 for me in London. So I know that usually 15 minutes, 30 minutes before the market's going to open, and especially when the market opens, there will be a market movement. Then it slows down. Then right towards the end of the day, so for me, when I'm in London, 7:30 in the evening till 9 o'clock, there are some nice moves. Okay, so this is the last, what we say, the last hour. This is the last hour move. This is the open, and then it goes quiet. Look, see, these are observations. So you'll start observing these things in the markets. This is core spread, so they have their charts continuous. That means that even when the market shut, this is the futures market, it will continue to trade. See, again, last hour, look at the move in the last hour. Okay, look at when the market opens. So start observing. These are the times. What's your plan? I want to make $50 a day or $100 a day. You make it in 3 to 9 minutes here. You make it in the close. Obviously, a lot more. But if that's your plan, then that's when you can catch the moves. Okay. So that's when the markets move. How do I know where to take profits? I don't know. I don't know what it is that you're trying to do. But I keep taking these profits of like £50, £50, £50. I'm losing 300. That's because you're not looking for the right size bars. Remember what I showed you at the beginning? Look at this bar. It's closed nicely just above the line. This one is closed way towards the middle. It's not giving you enough profit. It takes patience and discipline waiting for the right move, waiting for the right signal bar so that you can put the risk reward favors in your place. Now, sometimes you might say, is it worth me taking this trade? I'm risking 25 points, but the average true range tells me I can only pick up 16 points. Okay, by now you should have discovered that the frequency of getting the wins are actually quite high if you follow step by step what I've taught you. So there are some techniques in the trading world where we don't use risk reward ratios. It's difficult to do that. In the forecasting class, if you have done the forecasting class, you'll know that we look for better risk reward ratios. If you haven't done the forecasting class, I really urge you to get on the forecasting class as and when they're released. I don't know when it's going to be. Now, which time frame should I trade? I've been focusing on 3 minutes all the time. I've only used the 15 minutes and the hourly as a multiple time frame analysis perspective, just to show me what the longer term trend is. I am not interested in the daily, weekly, or monthly charts, not for this program, because that's too far out. I'm only interested in what's happening right now. Which markets can I trade? That's a silly question. You can trade any market you want. But I'm focusing on the Dow Jones because I'm teaching you how to do this just on the Dow Jones, because that's where we're starting. So, for example, look, I like Euro Yen. Okay, so this is a market that I like. This is Euro Yen. There's a chart Euro Yen. Let's get that open. Why is my chart not coming? Okay, so this is a Euro Yen. So this is a 3-minute chart. That's that 50-period moving average. Does it work on there? Yes, it's quite messy over here. Then again, you do your multiple time frame analysis. You look at your hourly charts. You look at your 15-minute charts, and you'll get some. This is horrible. This, you would have been stopped out. That's a nice trade. Not so nice here. Nice there. And again, I'm not going to put it on a plate for you, but you'll find that there are times when this market moves really nicely. This is Euro Yen. Yen. Okay, so have a look to see when the Euro Yen moves. What time does the Euro Yen move? So you'll start noticing specific currencies move at specific times of days. Other questions I got, when to stop trading. Fatigue, when you're watching the screens too much and you just can't take it anymore, just please stop. Take days off. These markets aren't going anywhere. There's going to be opportunities all the time. Trailing stops, I talked about doing the looking at the average true range. That's a good way. There are other things I can teach you. I just don't want to put too much in there because it's going to overwhelm you. I just don't think it's really worth doing that. It's not worth it. Okay. Now, let me just go back to my slides, and I want to talk about a couple of more things. So we looked at the charts. What we know is a drop. What we don't know is an ocean. And why I'm showing you this quote again is I hope that from last week to this week, you've learned more. Some things have come in as reminders. Some things you would say, did he say that last week? Yes. How comes I didn't hear it? I don't know. Maybe you were just not there. It's like sometimes we go to the movie, we're watching the movie. Even though we're in the cinema, our mind is somewhere else. Okay. So it just depends on, where you are in your state of life. So we always keep learning, always keep learning. This, I just noticed Success Resources just warned me a bit earlier on. I am not on social media. Do not contact me on Facebook or what's it called? Instagram, Twitter, and all that. I'm not on there. I do have a Facebook account. I don't even know what my password is because I don't go in there. If you get some person that looks like me is using my name and my picture on Instagram, especially Instagram and Twitter, saying that, hi, this is Sandy. Did you enjoy my course? Or would you like for me to trade for you? That is not me. Okay. It is not me. There are some idiots out there. It was in, I can't remember which newspaper. They said that more than 50% of the accounts on Instagram are fake. So I will never contact you. I don't even want to hear from you. So I have no interest in contacting you. If there's any doubt, please contact Success Resources. Okay. There is just no way that I'm going to contact you and say, give me your money and let me manage it for you. I've spoken to a guy, Instagram will not even listen. They're too busy for these small things, but it's a really serious problem for me because there's a lot of crap, fake stuff out there. But I spoke to this guy in the UK and he said what they're doing is called bots, BOTS. I don't know how it works, but apparently they do keyword searches and they're monitoring what Success Resources do. So they're seeing when certain speakers are speaking. So they know that, oh, there was an event. For example, we just had the webinar last week or the week before. And these people, they're sophisticated people. What they'll do is they'll monitor this and they will somehow backtrack and follow people, or I don't know how all these people. So you might get this sudden message, hey, hi, hope you enjoyed the webinar. Do you want to do it with me instead? It's not 895, it's 195, or send me your account details and let me trade for you. That is not me. Okay. I'm warning you again. I keep warning this over and over and over and over again. It is not me. I will not contact you. Only way you will hear from me is in the chat group. And you can see I don't even talk much on there. Okay. So I have no interest in contacting you. If you see something like that, please just report it as spam, send a message. The more people that do it, the faster we can try and get rid of it. But what they're doing is they get shut down and they reopen up under a different name. So they've been doing Sandy underscore Jadeja 1, gets shut down, Sandy underscore Jadeja 2, and so forth. Really annoying. If I ever catch these people, I'm going to hang them upside down and do other things to them that they're not even aware of. Now, this is your workbook. Some of you didn't manage, I don't know why, but some of you didn't manage to get your workbook last week. So here is the link. It's going to be deleted soon. So make sure you write it down. So you go to your browser, type in bit.ly/FPSTWKBK. This is your workbook. Okay, so this is the link for you to download your workbook. It's going to expire in the next couple of hours. So please make sure that you have downloaded your workbook, bit.ly/FPSTWKBK. Then Nikki also posted a list of contacts of your support teams around the world. So the group chat, you need to download the Telegram app. So you must download the Telegram app because there's still people missing off this chat group. You need to download the Telegram chat, the app, sorry, I beg your pardon. Once the app has been downloaded, then what you need to do is go to this. Now, if you're in the chat group already, please listen carefully. I'm not creating a new chat group. So I don't know where that came from. I'm not creating a new chat group. This is a new link. This is only for those of you that are on the webinar today that did not get into the chat group last week. So please, if you're in the group already, do nothing. There's nothing you need to do apart from be quiet. So those of you that are on here today that were not able to get into the group, can see some of you coming in already. Just go to bit.ly/SANDY-APRIL19. Trust me, you haven't missed anything. So, the chat group. Now, a few rules about the chat groups. Number one, because I'm going to get my admin to start deleting people now because I've given you enough notice. You must have a profile photo. You must. Okay. There's just no if, ands, or buts. I don't care how you look. I don't care if your hair is too long. I don't care. You must have a photograph, not of your cat, dog, budgie, goldfish. It's of you, not a fake picture. It's of you. Secondly, you must have your name. It cannot be just an initial BG or S. Why? Because you're part of this program, Success Resources needs to cross-check your name against your account to make sure that you are the person that signed up and you're eligible to be on this group. Listen carefully. If you don't have your full name, not your company, but if you don't have your full name and your picture, you're out. Within the next 48 hours, you are out. So you must have your full name, not a company name, a full name that you registered for this program with, and a photo. Now, here are some really, really, really important rules. Number one, be nice. Do not put people down in there. If I see, or if my admin sees people putting other people down or being sarcastic, you are out. There's no second chance. I don't care. The chat group is free. It is me giving you a chat group free for a whole year, and I'm not going to tolerate any nonsense on there. So be nice. That's rule number one. Be considerate. You know, there are people on there who are absolute beginners. They have no idea. Help. The chat group isn't about me being on there 24 hours and responding to every single message. It's not what my life is about. There are better things to do in life. The chat group is there so that I can allow all of us to be part of a community rather than email. And it's a support mechanism that we all work together with each other. However, be very, very, very careful because you will see this, that there are people on there that look like they're really trying to help. They're always there answering questions. I can tell you from experience, there's a motive. Okay. I don't want to go into this right now. I don't want to end this on a negative note, but just be careful. Be nice, be helpful. Now, please stop repeating the same questions. You can scroll up through the thousands of messages that are in there. Not in 9 out of 10 times, I will pin my message, not all the time, but if it's really important, I will pin my message. That means at the top, you will see it. My messages are always in capital letters. Now, it sounds like I'm shouting at you. I'm not. I'm really not. It just sounds harsh because it's capital letters. It's just the way it comes across. There are times I am very annoyed, and you'll know by the tone of the message, but in most cases, I'm doing it in capital letters, so it just stands out. The rest of you, please, please, please do not use capital letters. Okay. You're just being an idiot. Can you just use lowercase letters and then listen to what other people are saying on there? So be nice. Make sure your profile has your full name, has your photo. Now, this is the part where I'm really serious. If I even see you trying to start another group or even hinting at starting another group, goodbye, not allowing it. Why? Imagine that I've arrived at your house for dinner and you spent the whole day cooking and you've gone out to the supermarket, to the groceries, to the butchers. You've spent all that time getting everything together. You spent a few hours cooking and there's 10 people at your house and I come over and I says, hi, everybody. Hey, why don't you just come over to my place? How would you feel? Success Resources spends an enormous amount of time and effort to get to people, to reach people, to provide them with high quality professional education. There are people that come in here, and I can tell you on this group, they're there as well. There are people on here that are only on the group because they want to connect with other people, multi-level marketing people, you name it. Their sole purpose is to be in the group, to see what we're doing and to connect with you. Okay. Now I can start seeing it already, and it's really annoying the heck out of me. If I see you use the language, oh, if we just start another group because we don't want to disturb Sandy and we don't want to create noise, but we can have a private group chat, you're out. And I'll report you, and there is no refunds at all. Okay. And you'll be just blocked from everything. And the people that join it, I just did one in Vietnam a few months ago. I had a chat group. And I warned everybody, just like I'm warning you, that do not join other chat groups, do not exchange your name, phone number, or email address. And in the Vietnamese group, there was about 300 or 400 people. And within the first day, somebody went in and says, "Hi, everybody," in Vietnamese. "Hi, everybody. I'm starting a chat group. We don't want to disturb Sandy, so come into my chat group." I deleted all 400 people within minutes. The chat group's gone. That means they don't get the signals for a year. They don't get the support. Trust me, I am very cold when it comes to things like this. I can cut. I'm a trader. I can cut fast. I make friends quick, but I cut super fast. Okay. I'm warning you about this. And there are some people on there that have put the warnings out already. So the chat group is private. It's for everyone to be transparent. Everyone sees what we're all doing. Now, in terms of support, there are some of you that have done extremely well and you've sent me messages. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. Please help the other people. Don't show off. Don't say, "Hey, I've made $3,000 today and good night." No. "Hi, guys. I made $3,000 today and here are things that might help you." So, for example, I waited when the bar was very close to the edge of the line to get in, and I avoided the ones that were towards the middle. What I also did was when the market moved in my favor, I moved my stop loss to the entry level so that I tried to avoid taking losses. I also did this when my account was doing well, I increased my position size. When my account was not doing well, I decreased my position size. You can see that I've done 15 trades today, but if you check, I did most of those trades during the last hour because that's where the movement was. You're helping people. "Hi, everybody. I made $3,000 there. Wow, look at me. And I've got my own economy." You're not helping people. Okay. So these are things that I'm looking for. So these are really simple chat group rules. Once I've got everybody in the chat group, which we're now starting to see today, I'm going to post the chat group rules in there. Okay. And I'll also post some movies and books that you should be reading as well. When I've got some time, I'll do that. So do not create a second chat group. Make sure you've got the right attitude. Please, please, please. Okay. And also on the chat group, do not send links to other courses or things outside or YouTube videos and God knows what else. I don't want to see your pictures of what you had for dinner, lunch break. I'm not interested. This is a purely focused chat group designed to get results for everybody. So be supportive in there. Okay. I don't want to hark on about this. I just want to move on with that part. Now, also, last week, I just asked you for a favor. Okay. I just said, "Can you please send a 2-minute thank you video?" You know why? Because it's something for me. I've done something for you. I just want to see how you got this. So there was quite a number of you, not everybody, just a handful of you that actually did it. Okay. Some of you actually sent in a video. Some of you just sent a message. Some of you sent a video knowing that it was 3 o'clock in the morning in your country. Your hair's all over the place. Some of you barely got clothes on. And um, you just, in the heat of the moment, you sent a video. I assure you that video is not going anywhere. So I don't even want people to see those videos. But what I want to say is this: thank you so much for just doing it. It just made, I mean, you heard me laugh just now. It made my day. And I was watching those videos again and again. Some of the, I got tears in my eyes. Some of the videos were very emotional, like what you told me, um, how this has helped you and what it's done for you. So I just want to firstly say thank you. Some of you didn't do it. Some of you just sent a written message. "Hi, Sandy, I'm too shy. I just did this." But um, this, the instructions were really simple. Send a 2-minute thank you video. Okay. So here's the email address: sandyjadeja@gmail.com. Please do not send me questions on there. This is purely for the video. The questions go on the chat group. Please do not send me private messages. "Hi, Sandy. My life is in the pan. I really need your help. I need this to work because if I don't do this, I'm going to die. My dog's not going to live because I got a vet bill." I'm not interested. Just do not private message me. I am really not interested. I have a chat group. I don't have chat personals. This is a chat group. So please, everything in a chat group. I am not on the chat group 24 hours a day. Just be realistic about this. So if I can ask you for another favor, even though you may have done this, please today send a video. Don't do it tomorrow. Just do it today. I don't care how you look. Please just send a thank you video just to say, "Hey, you know what? It does work. Maybe I was skeptical at the beginning, but I've listened to you and I've gone back, and I just want to know if you've made money, then just say it. Don't brag about it. Just say, "Hi, Sandy, I made $500. I made $200. I made $50 or 5,000. I don't really care. But I just want to know if it works. And I would love to have that video. Well, we may or may not use it. And even if I do, I'll get your permission before. It's not going on social media anywhere. Any videos that I use, I will ask you first anyway. But I just want that video so that I get something out of it too. Now, those of you that did send a thank you video, I'm going to give you another session. It's just for you guys, the ones that sent the videos in last week, the videos. I'm going to put some time aside and I'm going to walk you through a mental process of how it's helped me. What did I do to help me to come ahead in my industry for the last 39 years now? I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to give you a private session where these are things that I think about. This is what I think about before I get into a trade. These are things that I do before I even start trading. These are things I do after I've traded. This is what I do at the end of my day. These are thought processes. This is how I manage my risk. How do I deal with the emotional side? This is my thank you to you. Okay, so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for doing that. It was a simple task. Some of the videos made me laugh, some of them made me cry, but I want to thank you. So I'm going to do a training session. I don't know when. Hopefully this week. If not this week, then maybe next week. As soon as possible, I'm going to do that. And the other session I'm going to do is a live training session as well. So I'll get that done. Success Resources will send you the links. And the links for the live session, I'll actually send it in the chat group. So please, please, please make sure that you're in the chat group. It will be in there. So I'll send it in there. But Success Resources themselves will actually help you to ensure that they send you the links. Now, please be careful. Success Resources themselves send the links to you, but it's going into your spam box. Gmail does very funny things. It's putting it into different boxes, but I can assure you they are sending you. If they've got your email address and it's the one that's registered, then they are definitely sending it to you. Okay. So that's the email address, sandyjadeja, thank you @gmail.com. I really, really hope you enjoyed today. We've done an extra hour. It was supposed to be 2 hours. We've done 3. I'm looking forward to some more of these sessions. Now, there was quite a few people, not a few, there's a lot of people. I don't know how to take it. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but there's a lot of people saying that they missed out for whatever reason. They didn't get the email. They couldn't open the emails on time, or they didn't hear about it. I don't know. But if you think that this program is a good program, and just honestly, don't do it just to please me. I just need your honest opinion. If you think the program is a good program and it's a skill worth learning through good times and bad times, is it worth opening this? Is it worth opening the doors to other people, or do you think I should just not do it? Like yesterday, my friend, all my trader friends, they're all a bit strange. They said, "Why would you teach people? Why don't you just keep this to yourself?" And it's the same reason that if we didn't learn, we weren't taught, then how would we be where we are? But if you think it's worth other people learning about it and knowing about it, Success Resources asked me that, would you be willing to offer this again? And I said, for $895, you've got to be kidding me. No, but it's not the price. It's just the time and the effort that goes behind it. So it may happen again. I'm speaking to people in Australia, Japan, and a few other countries. But if you know people that you think this is worth learning and that it's a good skill to have, then I'll do it online at the same price, but I just don't know when. It could be in a few months. It might be in a month's time. I just don't know when. But for now, what I want to do is to make sure that we do a live training session. I want to do a special thank you for those of you that sent the video, not the email, but the written video. If you think the video is too big, you can send it through something called WeTransfer or yousendit.com. I usually use that, yousendit.com. So you just upload your video to that, and then you send it to me on my email. Then I can download the video that way. Okay. I don't care how you look. You all look amazing always. But if you think it's worth opening this to other people, then I'll talk to Success Resources and see when we can do it. Also, if you think that this is something that it's your style, like you like the short-term fast trading, there are other techniques. I don't want to put them all in today because the program is for 2 techniques, and I've given you 3 and then now 4. You can use these. You don't need to keep relearning. But if you think that this is your style, that you like to be in and out, you don't want to be in overnight moves, and you feel that this is the kind of training that you need. I can't remember what the email address is. Nikki had the email address. It was the info email address. If you just let us know from there, then I'll see if I can put another. There are a couple other techniques that you could use, not so much catching just 10, 15, 20 points, but more like catching 30, 50, 100 to 200 points. If you're like looking for those kind of trades, but on an intraday basis, let me know, and I'll try and get Success Resources between all of us, because they've done their best to keep the price down. And I'll see if we can just get another one done at 895. And that way, at least you've got a whole basket of tools at your disposal. Again, I don't know if we'll do it or when we'll do it. It's just an idea. The world's changing fast. Who knows what's going to happen next month? Personally, I just really miss people. I'm a people's person. I want to be live. Once this crap's all over, hopefully we'll all get together, whichever part of the world, whether you're in the US or whether you're in South Africa, Australia, it doesn't matter. Let's try and arrange something where we can do a day together and I can go through all of this with you live in person. It'll be so much more fun. So I look forward to that day. In the short term, I just want to say a really, really huge thank you. Again, I know we keep doing this, but you honestly have no idea. You really, really don't know how many hours for you guys you've sat on a webinar for 3 hours, but the hours that go behind this. So Richard, Tan, Veronica, I spoke to them recently, and Richard sent a very personal thank you video for doing this. He said during these times when things are really difficult for people, you know, you've gone out there and you helped do the biggest webinar for Success Resources. And Veronica's always going out there. We want to get the women on board. We want to get out there and get this to as many people as possible. But I really, really want to thank them for helping with this. The original idea started as an experiment. I spoke to Nikki and I said, let's just do a webinar. Everyone's stuck at home and let's keep in touch. And it started with this experiment by helping people to make money. And then Nikki said, okay, let's do the webinar. So it was all kind of up and down, challenges, mistakes, but huge thank you to all of them. And there's a person that I haven't even met yet, but he's behind the scenes, Abdullah, who's the tech guy who every time there's something going wrong, this is the gentleman who's like making sure it all works. Uh, there's just so many people from Calvin, Faisal, Jade, Jonas, Rana, Dan, Ainsley, Koi, Samuel, Julia, Chong, Phoebe, Chloe, June, Ain, and many, many, many more. Audrey. There's just so many people that I can't even list. But without them, with what they're doing, this just wouldn't have happened. So if you feel that this was worth it, please, please, please send them some thank yous. Let them know, because these guys are doing 24 hours a day. In the meantime, I'm going to be in the chat group on and off. So you'll see me in there, and I'll be sending you, now that we've got most of the people in there, I'm going to start sending things in there. But I'm really looking forward to the next hour or 2 hours to just see your videos and, you know, make me laugh, make me cry. But I'm just really looking forward to your videos. So the video is really simple. Hi, my name's Sandy. Sandy, hi, just did your daily income course online. It was fantastic. You know, I did my first trade. The first day I made mistakes, but second, third, fourth day, I managed to get back on track and I made $813. But at least I've got a skill for life. And this is something that I believe most people should do. Something like that. I just don't want people showing off, but it's just to show other people that it genuinely does work. So in the meantime, today is Sunday, I think. I don't know what day it is today. Every day is the same. It's a Groundhog Day. But I really, really hope you enjoyed this. And hopefully in this week or next week, I'll see those of you that have sent the videos in. I'm going to see you on a separate one, and then we'll do a live training as well. Okay, so thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with that email address, and there's not going to be any music, because I'm sure if we listen to that music again, we're going to go to sleep hearing that music over and over and over and over again. So, but thanks to Nikki for doing that. But everything's going to go silent from now. Have a great day, and I'll be in the chat group soon. Take care, guys. Thank you so much. And please send your comments and everything through on the Q&A and the chat groups and the email. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody. I'm sure that you had a good, great learning session from Sandy. And I'm just going to share my screen. So This is the only time where you can take out your phone and take a snapshot of the contact detail for Success Resources. Any questions you have, you can go to info.online@srglobal.com. You can also send your video there. And we have a contact details of our team over here. So take a picture, and after that, if you have any questions, they can always help you. All right, we hope to see you soon. We'll send you the next link wherever the next session is going to be. Just keep a lookout on your Telegram message. Have fun. Thank you from Success Resources. Night night.